Good morning, everyone. Good morning. If you're new here, my name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show, and also the most pro-Donald Trump conservative radio show anywhere in America. We're on a whole bunch of radio stations live in Morning Drive, and we stream here on YouTube while we're on the radio. We take calls from you on YouTube as well as our radio listeners. Wearing my MyPillow bathrobe today. I wanted to show everyone.
And he will give you a great low price right over the phone at 954-977-9445. 954-977.
It's our top of the hour break. We'll be on the air in about a minute.
FriendlyTire.net.
Make sure you're subscribed, click that notification bell, and give me that thumbs up, people, if you don't mind. Make sure you're subscribed. Just doing a sound check. Here we go.
Join us for the perfect prescription to help you cope with the world.
Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday nights at 11.
If you want answers about love, anger, pain, and relationships, join us for your chance to call in and share your stories, tears, or laughs. Take the opportunity to tell me what's on your mind.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Larry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid throwback. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout South Florida, from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782.
You are listening to South Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll-free, dial 1-888-COCAINE 1. That's 1-888-COCAINE 1. And now, here.
All right, welcome everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. It's Friday morning, February 19th, 2021, and of course, this is the most important show of the week because this is not just our live morning drive edition on this Friday morning. This is our overnight rebroadcast for the entire weekend because we're also on the air midnight till 6 a.m., 7 nights a week. And this episode of The Steve Kane Show will air a total of 35 times, people. 35 times before we return live Monday morning at 6 a.m. So we always want to make sure the Friday show is the best. We got a lot to talk about today. If you're watching on YouTube, it may look as if I've just rolled out of bed. I've been up for about 3 hours or so already, but I am wearing my MyPillow bathrobe. I brought this in a few weeks back, and some people had asked me if I could bring it in again so they could take a look at it. And of course, MyPillow, a great sponsor of this program, and you can get this beautiful bathrobe for 30% off with the promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E, at MyPillow.com. But if you go on YouTube, you can check out my bathrobe. I have the gray MyPillow bathrobe, and the size I'm wearing is medium, okay? And it is soft, it is comfortable, and I just washed it yesterday and dried it and took it to work today, and I'm wearing it now on YouTube. You can check it out, the MyPillow bathrobe. My wife has one. She has the white one. Mine's gray. They come in many other colors too. MyPillow.com, promo code KANE. All right, so we'll talk a little bit here in the beginning about flying Ted Cruz is like a trending hashtag now because he flew down to Cancun and got busted during this natural disaster. And I got to tell you, I was a little surprised. This even Ted Cruz agrees, this was a stupid thing for him to do, okay? This was a stupid thing for him to do during a major crisis that's going on in Texas. Things in Texas are far worse than we all realize, unless you're there. Those of you that are there, you're living it. And I was watching some Weather Channel yesterday. I usually only watch the Weather Channel during hurricane season when we have hurricanes coming towards us in Florida. But I was watching a little bit of the Weather Channel yesterday and some other news on what was going on in Texas. This is before I found out about Ted Cruz and his trip to Cancun. And they've got a lot of carbon monoxide poisoning issues because people don't have electricity. They don't have heat. So they're starting up their cars in the garage to get heat from the car, which is very, very dangerous. And hopefully no one has died from that. Haven't heard any reports of anyone dying yet, just getting sick. But if someone's died, we may not know about it for a while, right? Blizzards are tough. You know, I'm a Floridian now, but being originally from Columbus, Ohio, we had a pretty bad blizzard when I was a kid, 77, 78. It's pretty bad. And in many ways, it's worse than our hurricanes, because when we get a bad hurricane in Florida, it's bad. Oh, let me tell you something. It's bad. But the hurricane is gone. And the worst thing you have after the hurricane, because we've had hurricanes where we haven't had electricity and supplies are short and gas has been difficult to get. But since Rick Scott was our governor, we got a great system in Florida. We're pretty set up for that now. But anyway, we didn't have electricity for 2 weeks, was the longest I've been without electricity. That was about 15 years ago or so after a really bad hurricane. And, I've got a generator. It's tough. But, you got to deal with the heat. And so far as Ted Cruz, I can't remember which hurricane this was. We didn't have electricity for 2 weeks. And my wife has a lot of health issues. She cannot survive without air conditioning, no matter where she is. And when the hurricane was gone, we had a generator, but this was a while ago. They have a new system in place at the gas stations now. All the gas stations have generators. They didn't back then, so the gas pumps couldn't work. And it was becoming difficult to get generator gas to power the air conditioning. This was at this hurricane 15 years ago. And first what I did is I drove to Orlando with my wife and daughter for the weekend, trying to figure out what we were going to do. And then I put my wife and daughter on a plane, and she stayed with friends in Atlanta for a few weeks until the electricity was back and everything was up and running fine here. And then they came back home. I didn't go with them. I stayed here. And Ted Cruz taking a Cancun vacation while the people of Texas are suffering was bad optics beyond imagination. I mean, it was just a stupid, stupid thing. I think he knows that now. He did fly back immediately as soon as he got busted. And I'll play some of his bit of a press conference he gave yesterday. And the media are following him around. And you look at what's going on with Governor Cuomo. Governor Cuomo, there are people that are dead. There are thousands of people who are dead, who died a lonely, sad, unnecessary death because of Governor Cuomo in New York. And it's getting reported here and there, but I don't see the media following him around everywhere he goes and throwing questions at him like they were doing with Ted Cruz yesterday. What Ted Cruz did was bad optics. He didn't hurt anyone. Governor Cuomo, Fredo's brother, killed people. Okay, so there's a big difference here in everything that's going on. With that being said, though, I was talking about this Ted Cruz issue on my podcast last night. Got a lot of negative feedback from people that he deserves a vacation, he should take a vacation. No, he should not. He should have done what I did, okay? Put his family on a plane and flew them somewhere. I probably would have flown them to Florida if I were him, flown them to Disney World or something, not to Mexico because of international travel during COVID and everything. He got busted lying. He blamed his daughter. And then there's text messages have come out from his wife, which I'll go through this stuff later. But when you're in the position he is in, and your constituents are suffering to the level that they are suffering, you don't take a weekend vacation to Cancun. And he wasn't flying down there just to fly back. He had a big old suitcase. He had 4 or 5 days worth of stuff with him. It was very stupid. He should have just it's okay for his family to get out of there. They shouldn't, if you can get out, you get out. Right? That's what you do. But he's not just a regular senator. And I would say Ted Cruz, correct me if I'm wrong, people, but is Ted Cruz the most popular and high-profile Republican in the Senate? I would say that he is. Because Republicans, Trump people, we don't like McConnell. Lindsey Graham's all over the place. Ted Cruz is, I think, the most famous and prominent Republican senator there is. And while he's not the governor, and it's the duty of the state government to immediately handle this crisis, there's a federal government role there too. And because of his status, his connection, his fame, and all of this, because he's a famous guy too, there's a lot of people in the Senate, and he's one of the most famous ones in the Senate. I would say he's in the top 3, 4, 5 most famous, well-known senators before yesterday. Now he's all over the news, more people know about him. Because of his position, status, celebrity, and all of this, he can get things done that a not so well-known senator can get done, okay? And, he's almost in a leadership position. While he's not the governor, Greg Abbott is, he's more famous than the governor. And if we had a hurricane like we've had, where we didn't have electricity, okay, and things were bad here after a hurricane, and Marco Rubio, little Marco, took a vacation to Mexico, or Senator Rick Scott took a vacation to Mexico, I'd be pissed off. When you're in a position like Ted Cruz, you've got to suffer with your constituents. This is like when Governor Newsom shut down all the restaurants and then he had a wine and cheese party with his rich pals. Remember that? And and all of you people out there that left me nasty comments instantly about my podcast last night and on YouTube, if Ted Cruz were a Democrat, you'd be all over him, and you'd be right to do so. Yeah, get your family out of there. I don't expect your family to freeze and do without and suffer. Get them out. But you gotta suffer with your constituents when you're in a position like Ted Cruz. And this is a thing. There's a double standard. Democrats can literally get away with murder. Look at Ted Kennedy Chappaquiddick. Okay? Literally get away with murder. Look what's going on with Cuomo. Oh, there's an investigation. He's not getting locked up. He's a Democrat. Okay? So there's a double standard. But that's the reality. Okay? And when you are a Republican, a high-profile Republican official, you have to hold yourself to a higher standard, because anything you do is going to be used to destroy you. And I'll tell you this Cancun Gate thing and Flying Ted, in the scheme of things, is not a big deal, okay? But it was stupid. And it says something about his judgment. And President Trump is running for re-election in 2024 to be the 47th or maybe the 48th president of the United States. And people are talking about Ted Cruz being his running mate. He's on the list of running mates. This could stop that. In fact, not only could this stop it, maybe he shouldn't be now, because if President Trump chooses Ted Cruz to be his running mate, this is going to be all over the place. Although a lot can happen between now and then. But listen, guys, this isn't the same as Cuomo or these lowlives, like Biden putting 100,000 people out of work on his first day in office, or AOC stopping 50,000 high-paying jobs from the Amazon place. This is not on that level. But Republicans are held to a different standard publicly. And what he did was stupid and shows very, very poor judgment. And on top of that, the Democrats have a mission to turn Texas blue. I was talking about this yesterday. They've been working hard to make Texas Democrat again. It was for a long time. Remember Ann Richards? People forget about Ann Richards. And they're using this crisis to do that. Okay? And they know that this suffering that's going on in Texas, I was talking about this yesterday, they're going to use this to try to get people to turn against Republicans in Texas. And they might have some positive gains doing that. And Ted Cruz doing something so stupid is helping the Democrats turn Texas blue. They got the exodus from California of Democrats coming in. People are pissed at the state. Oh yeah, the snowflakes with the windmills, but it's been a state that's been run by Republicans since, when did Bush become governor? Was it 96-ish? When but before that, it was a Democrat state forever. GW might have been the first Republican governor of Texas. I don't know, but he was the first one in a long time if he wasn't the first. So, this is stupid Ted Cruz. Okay? All right, now listen, I want to hear your thoughts. There's other things we're going to bring up. This isn't just the only topic, but I'd like to hear your thoughts specifically on this, on Ted Cruz. I'll go to the phones after this break. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-CANE, 1-888-465-2631. And as I started at the top of the hour, I am wearing my MyPillow bathrobe. And when you go to MyPillow.com and use the promo code CANE, You can get this bathrobe for 30% off. And this is, let me tell you, I've had a lot of bathrobes, worn bathrobes, fancy bathrobes on our fancy cruise ships and fancy hotels. This is the softest, most comfortable bathrobe I have ever worn. And I've washed it several times now, and it still looks like the day it came out of the, it came to me in the mail. It's soft, it's lightweight, it keeps me warm when I get out of the shower at night on cold days. And here in the radio studio, they keep the air conditioning so low because of all the equipment. It's keeping me warm and everything. And this is just, it's got these nice pockets on the front of it that are in the perfect spot. And you're supporting Mike Lindell. Mike Lindell is under incredible amounts of persecution because of his support of Trump. You know this. And I'll tell you guys, if you want to see how bad it is for Mike Lindell, go on Google and type in Mike Lindell and do a Google News search. All right? Mike Lindell, right? Search Mike Lindell on a Google News search and look at the stories that come up. He is under tremendous amount of harassment by very wealthy, powerful, anti-Trump forces, Mike Lindell. Okay? And he and his workers need you and your support. So go to mypillow.com, purchase one of these incredible bathrobes, 30% off, when you use the promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E. And again, go on my YouTube live video right now. You'll see me wearing the bathrobe. Or you can call. You can order by phone as well, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Use that promo code Kane when you call on the phone, K-A-N-E. All right, we'll be right back after this. Do not go anywhere.
Brian Craig here. You've heard us talk about the great low prices Friendly Tire has
Yeah.
on new tires and used tires.
Yeah,
Do tire
I'm gonna do it, you know.
repairs. One of our listeners talk about their experience at Friendly Tire.
Yeah, I just got him tied up in the robe.
Mike, just wanted to call and say thank you. I had a
Steve
problem
Kane Show.
with my car. I had a flat tire. It was
Yeah, hold
going
on.
down really quick. In Coral Springs, I had to go somewhere close
Fan
by.
bothering you?
I don't hear it in the headphones.
I didn't think
It was really loud in the hall. Sometimes fans will interfere with the equipment, sometimes, you know. So I was worried about that, but I don't hear it.
I haven't heard anything on the air.
Yeah, it's no big deal. I wouldn't say anything about it. They'll come in and turn it off. AJ or you know, Jody will turn it off.
Wait till I get here, but I don't think Ernie's back until Monday, so.
It'll annoy them. They'll turn it off. You don't have to say anything. They'll go in and turn it off. They're not going to want to hear that all day.
They're not really professionals, they won't hear it.
No, oh, they'll hear it. They'll hear it in their offices. It'll annoy them.
Springs wanted $500 for 2 tires. I just wanted to say thank you.
There's
I love you guys.
I was talking to them on YouTube. There's an office next door,
Give Mike at
and
Friendly Tire a call right
they have
now.
a fan
Over
on,
the phone at 954
full blast,
977
like a stationary fan. It's you guys can't hear it, but it's loud as hell.
Don't waste time going
And
anywhere else. You will never find prices as low.
the office is locked, and none of us here have a key to it. So I was worried that it would interfere with the equipment. All right, we are back. We were just having some tech issues during the break. There's an office next to our studio, and there's this loud humming noise. I mean, a very loud humming noise. You guys can't hear it on the air. The microphones are like directional microphones, so it's not here. I can hear it. And there's a loud fan in the office next to me, and I heard it as soon as I got off the elevator. I mean, it's loud like a bzzz. It sounds like a very loud electric razor. I thought Rich Allen over here was shaving, I told him when I came in. And we don't have keys to the office. And it's really annoying. It's annoying and distracting. And we were talking about how we could get into the office. We can't get into the office until the station manager comes in. And I said, don't worry, they'll turn it off because it's so loud. It will annoy the daylights out of them too. But I'm sorry if I'm a little distracted. All right, let's go to our phones. Good morning. You're on the radio. What's your name?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the radio. What's your name?
Oh, hi, my name's Ian.
Hey, Ian.
How's it going? Brian Craig, it's so good to be able to call into your show. I've been following you for a few months now. I actually found you on YouTube around election time.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been watching your show, and
I'm sensing a setup.
I love it.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
You're the Donald Trump super fan. Like
Oh, yeah.
I haven't heard anyone like with as all the enthusiasm that you have.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I mean, there's no. I had Corey Lewandowski on my podcast, and he was This was a couple months back, and he was outside of the Oval Office waiting to go into a meeting with President Trump. And when I had him on my show, and I told him, I said, Corey Lewandowski, I said, I am the biggest Trump fan there is anywhere. And he got upset with me. He says, how can you say that? I'm a bigger fan. And I said, well, when you walk into the Oval Office in just a second, tell President Trump that Brian Craig said hello. But he really took offense, Corey Lewandowski, that I think I'm the biggest Trump fan there is. I mean, outside of the family.
Absolutely. You know what the thing is? I always wonder, because I mean, you're right down there near Mar-a-Lago. I mean, you're literally not even that far away from him.
Oh yeah.
But you know, I always wonder. Like, I feel like, honestly, I gotta say, because Trump loves. See, and one thing that I noticed, and if you watch, like, just following Trump for a few years, and even just watching a lot of his old interviews, one thing he really appreciates and loves is attention. You know, when
attention. He's anti-Trump. Attention.
Him, you know, positive attention. He really appreciates that. And honestly, because of your enthusiasm, I honestly feel like he does follow you. I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I would hope so. I would disagree that he loves attention. I mean, you know, but you know, that sounds like kind of a negative thing. But you know. No, our Mar-a-Lago is within the radius of our radio stations, and I have gotten word about who's listening from time to time up at Mar-a-Lago. Yeah.
Absolutely. So the reason why I'm calling in is you were talking about Ted Cruz. You're talking about what he did. You know, I think it was wrong. I honestly do. I don't think that he should have done that. What do you think he was thinking? Like, do you think it was just like?
Well, this is what Ted Cruz is the senator. Okay, he's not the governor, and senators don't do much. They don't do anything. They do interviews. They go to committee hearings. The Senate's not in session, and they vote yay, nay, or present. Senators really don't do anything, and their whole life is a vacation. And I think it's cold as hell. And they're snowed in, and it's miserable. And a lot of Texans probably don't even have proper winter clothing. And he wanted to get the hell out of town for the weekend with the family. That's what he was thinking. You know, it was bad optics. He should have put his family on the plane, and he should have stayed. He should have known. If he flew, you know. But I'll tell you this. How many of these Democrat senators fly commercial? They're giving him a hard time, and he got busted because some people on the plane took his picture and they put it all over social media. And I'm pretty impressed that he was flying commercial. And I don't even know, that did not look like first class. Maybe it was, but it didn't look like first class to me. You know, and you got these Democrats, they fly around on private jets and, you know, everything else. You know, I was at when John Kerry was running for president, I was in Cleveland for a convention, and I was with my friends. This was Sunday morning. Monday morning. We're flying back, and we're waiting for the airport shuttle to take us to the airport. And there was some flight attendants there, and they were going to the airport with us, right? Because they were staying in the hotel. And I had a Bush Cheney shirt on. This is when John Kerry was running, you know. And she said, I had that jerk. These are her words. I had that jerk on one of my flights last week, John Kerry. And I said, really? And I said, it must not have gone well if you're calling him a jerk. And she said, he showed up at the last minute unannounced to buy a ticket to fly, and first class wasn't available, and he threw a fit that we wouldn't bump someone out of first class for him, and that he had to ride in coach. Can you imagine what a snob, the man of the people. I guess the private jet wasn't working that day. And here's Ted Cruz, looks like he was flying business class or coach or something. Did that look like, at least he's flying commercial, unlike John Kerry.
It didn't look first class. Yeah, but then again, I haven't been on many flights, so I couldn't say for sure. But I don't know if first class is supposed to be really nice. It didn't really look that nice.
First class, you don't. When you're in regular, it's like a bus. There's a lot of rows. There were a lot of seats there. That in first class, you don't have the center rows and all that.
did look like a bus. Yeah, it did look a little cramped.
Yeah, so at least give him that. It was just bad optics. It wasn't a crime. He didn't hurt anyone. He didn't kill thousands of seniors in a nursing home and leave them to die alone without being able to see their family. He didn't drive a car with his mistress off the road into a body of water and leave her behind to drown like Ted Kennedy.
You are like the only person I've besides me that's ever brought up that incident.
Chappaquiddick?
Yeah, I don't ever hear anyone. I'm always the one that brings it up. I'm always the one that talks about it, right? And or in the conversation.
Well, if Ted Cruz was driving drunk down in Cancun, drove off a bridge in Cancun into a body of water and left his mistress behind to die while he went and got his college buddies and tried to figure out how he was going to salvage his political career, then it would have been a big deal. But this is here's Cuomo. All these thousands of senior citizens died because of him. And when people die from COVID, they're not allowed visitors. They die alone. What I want
to know is Cuomo did this hidden information. How many of these people that had their grandparents or had these elderly people in these nursing homes? How many of them, if they had the right numbers, could have taken their family members out of these nursing homes?
Yeah, and I'll tell you this. I want you to think about this. I know this will sound crazy to people, but if Cuomo is guilty of what he's being accused of, okay, because in America we're presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. But if Governor Cuomo did what he's being accused of, he killed more New Yorkers than bin Laden on 9/11.
That's terrible. That's terrible. Wow. I never looked at it like that. I haven't looked at it like that.
Yeah, I know. And they're giving flying Ted Cruz a hard time because he went down to Cancun for a day and got busted and came back with his family. I know it's stupid. It was stupid, but come on, let's have some perspective here.
Well, the thing is look at what they did. Look at what they did to Trump. I mean, they hung on to his every word. They did not let up on anything he'd say. He'd say one thing, and they're just like, oh, see, he's this, he's that. Look at him. So I mean, obviously they're gonna try to go full attack mode on Ted Cruz. I think that he's well versed and he's educated enough on cancel culture. Him having talked about it multiple times when at these hearings, but So I think that he's going to have a good solid head.
Oh yeah.
That he's going to be getting. So
No, he's great. I'm going to play a little bit of his. He had a bit of a press conference yesterday, and he's very good. And he handled himself well. And like I said, here in Florida, when we didn't have electricity after a hurricane, I flew my family to Atlanta to stay with friends until things were back to normal. So because we didn't have electricity, But I stayed. I stayed to take care of the house and had to work and stuff. And he should have stayed in Texas and flew them out because he had to. He even said in his press conference yesterday that he was having second thoughts when he was on the plane that it was a bad idea.
Well, one thing I want to also talk about too, real quick, is you mentioned that they're going to try to turn Texas blue. I was actually thinking about this over the last week. Before today, and hearing you talk about it, with all these migrants coming up from South America, up through Mexico and coming in, and Biden wants to welcome them with open arms. As you know, one thing that the Attorney General of Texas was doing was he was suing Biden and taking them to court in Texas, and basically the judge ruled, and I know that they have until February 28th to basically this deportation, stop deportation or continue deportations, and Biden wants to stop it. Do you think that's part of the plan too? Do you?
Well, these migrants already, all right. Like in the past with migrants, like during the Obama presidency, there was a huge increase in diseases that we've wiped out in America. Measles were back in public schools throughout the country because the migrants, they're not vaccinated. And vaccinations for things like measles begin when a baby's young, and by the time you reach kindergarten, you got your vaccinations. These people don't have vaccinations. So, I see caravans of people. They're not social distancing. I don't see masks. You know, I mean, these are, you know, I don't know what the Democrats are thinking. What are they? Are migrants immune to COVID? They can't get it or carry it or spread it? I mean, it's stupid. I mean, you can't, think about this. You know, you can't travel from Canada to the United States. And, you know, Canada, we have a huge number of Canadian residents that are here just during the winter. And in fact, my wife's family, my wife's mother's from Canada originally, and she's got family that live in Toronto, and they have a house right down the street here from the radio station. And they can't visit their own house because there's a travel ban from entering Canada to the United States. Biden is talking about a domestic travel ban forbidding people from coming to Florida. But the people from people from South America can just come over here at will. What, and he's going to allow it? What the hell?
You know, one thing. Well, yeah. I mean, that's, you know, I thank the Lord that you have someone like Governor DeSantis there to.
Well, we're the luckiest state in America. Governor DeSantis is the best governor in the history of governors.
I was totally, you know, kind of surprised, you know, about him, because, you know, like, I don't know, because I think about it, you went from Jeb Bush to DeSantis. I mean, so anybody that's looking at the optics there, like, oh, you're just going to get another.
No, we didn't go from Jeb. There were some people in between. You know, he wasn't the no. We had a couple governors after Jeb, but our governor before Ron DeSantis was Rick Scott, who's now one of our senators, and he was very, very, very good. I mean, what he did, very good. But no one's as good as DeSantis. 8 years. Which is what they're allowed, 2 terms. Yeah, Governor Rick Scott was governor. Before that was Charlie Crist was governor. Who, you know, yeah. So Jeb was like 3 governors ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought he was more so recent.
Jeb was all right when he was governor. Steve and I were friends with Jeb, and we had him on the show many times in studio. We were friends with him, and he changed. He's not the same. His personality is different than it used to be. You know, we had him on the show back in like 97, 98 when he was running for governor, but he wasn't governor yet, and I was a Democrat. It was a long time ago, guys. Come on, I was in my 20s. And Steve told Jeb Bush on the air that I was not going to vote for him. And and when the show was over, I was really embarrassed. You know, I was really embarrassed. His father was president. I knew his brother was going to be president. And after the show, in the hallway with no one around, Jeb came up to me and asked me why I wasn't going to vote for him. And I gave him some stupid liberal answer, I'm sure. I don't remember what I said. And he talked to me in the hallway and he says, "Oh no, that is not my position. That's not, you know, this is what I really, you know." And this wasn't on the air, you know. And I was pretty impressed with Jeb. Yeah, but he's changed then. He's changed. After he became governor, his ego got a hold of him.
Well, I mean, I'm so surprised that his ego would change, you know, now and not then, you know.
Well, I think Jeb, I mean, I don't know, because I don't know him anymore. I knew Jeb years ago. But my take, he seemed weird during the 2016 campaign, Jeb Bush. And what I think it was like is the family gets together. You got President Bush 41, President Bush 43, and Jeb. And I think he's got a lot of issues. But anyway, listen, enough of Jeb. But thanks for the call. Welcome to the show. I got to take our break. All right, take care. All right, let's take our break. We'll be right back. I'm Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. We'll be back right after this.
You've heard Steve Kane talk about the great work and the incredible prices.
Steve Kane Show.
Brighton Dental. Richie, the bus driver.
Hey, hold on, you're next. Steve Kane Show.
About his experience at Brighton Dental.
Good
Hello.
morning. I have to talk about
Hold on.
Brighton Dental because your sponsor is a miracle worker. I broke my tooth. I fractured it and it went backwards in my mouth. Oh my front top tooth. I put it back into the socket. It felt like it was falling out. I was good. I had pain. I couldn't even eat spaghetti. And I was going to a wedding in New York 2 days later.
Jeb's a nickname. His name's, I believe, John.
The dentist here wanted to charge me $120 just to look at it and to tell me he couldn't do anything. I went to Dr. Goop at Brighton Dental. I traveled 139 miles. I would do it again in a heartbeat, each way. Okay, the man sat and worked on my tooth for 2 hours, put a pin in it, put it back in place, I could eat anything I want. He said it was temporary. He did such a great job. It feels like permanent. I have no pain. I can eat anything I want now. And the fact of the matter, this is what really was unbelievable. I was getting on the bus to go to the reception. Okay?
Oh, they have larger
In
sizes.
New York City. He knew I was in New York.
This is one of the smaller ones.
Who do you think's on the line?
Dr. Gupta.
Right. He wants to see if everything is going okay and if I'm in any pain. The guy is unbelievably wonderful. I mean, thank you so much. I wouldn't have been able to eat. I wouldn't have been able to go. I would have looked like a pumpkin.
Everybody needs a great dentist, and of course, for you Steve Kane listeners, you have one, Dr. Gupta. And
Steve Kane Show.
Over there at Brighton Dental. He takes really good care of you. He's very conscientious. Dentistry is an art when you stop and you think about it. And Dr. Gupta certainly is an artist, and we're so pleased to have him with us.
Yeah, I just wanted them to know if you need a dentist, and the guy is so good at what he does, he's so gentle, and I mean, I don't like dentists. This guy is top shelf, and I'm going down to him to get it permanently put in, but right now, I don't have any pain. I can eat anything I want. Incredible.
Take Richie the bus driver's advice and go see Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. Call 954-922-4633. 954-922-4633.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by
All right, we're coming back. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe.
Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout South Florida, from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WW.
All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show. We're putting in proper perspective this really stupid thing that Ted Cruz did, just a dumb thing, going down to Cancun while his constituents are suffering. The media are carrying this story like he caused the blizzard himself and killed people. I mean, the reaction of the liberal mainstream media is so out of proportion to reality. It's insane. And as I said to the caller before the bottom of the hour, here you got Governor Cuomo, who's responsible for the death of more New Yorkers than bin Laden on September 11th, because a lot of people have died from the sicknesses after 9/11, the first responders and stuff. And I don't see reporters following him around everywhere he goes. Here's just a little bit. This is Ted Cruz yesterday, had a little press conference. Here we go. Okay, she said, "Did you come back because you got caught?" This reporter says to Ted Cruz, and I love his answer. He ridicules her in the beginning. Listen.
So the question from the video on the cell phone was whether the...
Okay, now before I get to the content, see, Ted Cruz is the most brilliant person in the Senate. He is brilliant. He is clever. I mean, he is... And notice how he ridicules her to discount her right in. The question for the reporter with the cell phone. That's like saying she's not like a real reporter. You know what I mean? She's probably somebody, just some vlogger or something. I don't know. But that was just to ridicule her. But he gives a good answer.
So the question from the video on the cell phone was whether the decision to go was tone deaf. Look, it was obviously a mistake, and in hindsight, I wouldn't have done it. I was trying to be a dad, and all of us have made decisions. When you've got 2 girls who have been cold for two days and haven't had heater power, and they're saying, "Hey, look, we don't have school. Why don't we go? Let's get out of here." I think there are a lot of parents that'd be like, all right, if I can do this, great. Our priority should be fixing this problem and making sure it doesn't happen again. And I didn't want all the screaming and yelling about this trip to distract even one moment from the real issues that I think Texans care about, which is keeping all of our families safe.
Okay, so that's just a little bit of it. But come on, it was stupid. It was bad optics. I would not have done it. He shouldn't have done it. But he didn't kill anybody. He didn't hurt anyone. And another low-life reporter was questioning him, and he said, "I was going to do everything on computer and phone, just like here, right? Everything would be on the phone or on Zoom or something." He was going to continue to work that way, remotely, like they've been doing all year. But it's the double standard between Republicans and Democrats. It's absolutely amazing, isn't it? All right, good morning. You're on the radio. What's your name?
I'm Marty. I'm in Texas.
Hey, Marty.
Well, I think that Ted Cruz did a bad thing. It was unfortunate. And the good thing is that he said that it was poor optics.
Yeah.
And he owned it, and so, it doesn't give him a free skate, but hopefully he'll think about that in the future.
Yeah. As opposed to Governor Cuomo, who's gotten people killed, many thousands of people possibly, and he takes no responsibility. Blames everybody else.
A joke. An absolute joke. He's absolutely killed so many people, and he doesn't want to own his shit.
Oh, well, you can't, we're on the radio, okay? You can't. I gotta let you go. Oh my gosh. I tell you, Texas, is that how Southern Belles talk? She's right with what she said, but oh my gosh, Texans got away with words, don't they? All right, good morning. You're on the radio.
Hello?
Yes, you're on the radio. If you were on hold, you got to hear what she said if you were listening. Go ahead.
Okay. So,
yeah, you called me, so I'm assuming you have something to say.
Yes, well, I was, talking about Ted Cruz, I wonder how much he knew about the weather. I thought it was like a freak storm or something.
Of course he knows about it. He said he was without power and heat at his house.
Oh, all right. I wasn't aware. Now I know.
Yeah.
But I've been stuck in Florida now for a week longer, and there's worse places I could be.
Why are you stuck here in Florida? Why are you stuck in Florida?
I came down the first of the month from Indiana to spend a week, and then all that happened up there, and I'm not going to drive home through the frozen tundra.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. You drove to Florida from Indiana, and you don't want to drive back through the weather.
So, Pensacola's a little colder than you, but it's gorgeous compared to what's going on up there.
I've been in Florida almost my entire life. I've never been to the Panhandle. I've flown over it, but I've never driven or been up in the Panhandle, ever.
I love the Emerald Coast. I've got family here, is why I'm down, so it's beautiful.
But when you're in Florida, describing yourself in Florida as being stuck in Florida, I mean, come on. That sounds like white people problems, right? White people problems. I'm stuck in Florida.
Well, like I said, I could be in worse places, and it just happened to me, and I thought maybe Ted wasn't aware of the weather, but...
No, he's aware of the weather. Listen, like I said, I've gotten my family out of town after hurricanes, but I stayed because I wanted to take care of the house. And they're really going after Ted. There's one story. Hold on, I saw this. I think I tweeted it because it was so ridiculous. Now keep in mind, Cuomo's killed people, right? They got one story here. Let me see if I tweeted this story about Ted. Yeah, okay. This is one of the stories about... This is how hard they're going after Ted Cruz. I mean, this is insane, okay? Ted Cruz, this is a headline. Ted Cruz is slammed for leaving the family poodle Snowflake at home when he fled frigid Texas for a luxury resort in Cancun. So he's telling us, Ted Cruz, this is the story, they have no electricity, no heat. He left with the family, but left the poodle, the family dog Snowflake, home alone without any heat. I mean, oh my goodness. They got the animal rights people after him now. And people don't care about humans. Grandma and grandpa in New York, that does, but people with the dog, that gets people upset.
Oh, of course. How hypocritical.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. He left the poodle. He left the family dog at home. That's how little he cares, Ted Cruz. I just wish that Democrats would be held up to just half the standards that Republicans are.
Mm-hmm. Well, I watched Janice Dean, I believe, yesterday talking about Cuomo, and I heard that they're going after other people saying things, but they're not going to go after her, and I'm glad she's speaking up for me.
Well, I don't know, but Janice Dean, believe me, she's on Cuomo's enemies list, and she's pretty high profile now. But Cuomo's not going to go to jail. He's not going to go to jail. He's a Democrat, and he's with one of these political connected dynasties. He was even in the cabinet of Bill Clinton. I think he was housing secretary with Bill Clinton. So he's connected in so many ways, But his hopes and dreams of being president are over, Cuomo. And Democrats are stupid. I mean, they would still vote for Cuomo. They'd still vote for Cuomo after all this. They don't care.
Well, I heard they had enough votes now to try to get rid of Newsom out in California, but they need sure.
Well, Newsom, I'm telling you, if the recall could fail, people in California are the biggest. They call California the land of the fruits and the nuts because they're crazy. They're crazy, and a lot of Californians are upset at what's going on, but a lot of them are paranoid about COVID beyond imagination. Like here in Florida, I saw this guy yesterday was in front of me in traffic when I was leaving the radio station. He was in a convertible by himself, and he had a mask on. I mean, he's in a convertible car in Florida by himself, driving down the highway in the breeze, and he's wearing a mask. And I'm thinking, in California, that's how they all are out there. So it is possible that Newsom survives the recall, It's possible. And if he does, God help California, because he will take it as a mandate to continue the crackdowns and lockdowns, and he'll be on a revenge tour for everyone who tried to recall him.
Yeah, I can't figure out why people can't be better free thinkers. That I understand a year ago everybody thought this was like the Black Plague, but for more and more time goes on, you see it is what it is. It's like the flu, maybe a little.
Well, I don't know. I know somebody. I've had some people in my family recently get sick, and a friend of the family actually has died over this last week here locally. Was actually the person that gave it to some of my family members. Passed away this week from COVID. So it's, and let me tell you something. In my entire life, I've never known of anyone in my circle dying from the flu. I know it happens, and I hear about it, but I've never known of it.
Well, the elderly, my brother had COVID in December, and he wore a mask at work, and they had gloves on. But guess what? The whole shop came down with it. He got it. He was sick for a couple of weeks. Now, he's almost 60. But he did fine, and he's sober.
Yeah.
He's done it.
No, it can. I mean, it happens, and and by the way, this person that died, I mean, it can happen, and that's the way it is. And I'm very careful. My wife is a very high risk person. Has not been, because she's not old enough. She's not been able to get the vaccine yet. CPAC is coming to Florida next month, and I can't go to CPAC because I can't risk the exposure to all these people flying in from around the country. Last year, CPAC, a lot of people got COVID. And I haven't been vaccinated. My wife hasn't been vaccinated. And I desperately want to go to CPAC, and I can't, because I can't take that chance when somebody in our circle has just died in the last week from it. So it's still serious business. It's not a joke.
And when my brother got it and was pretty sick, he didn't go to the hospital, but he wasn't well. It took him a couple weeks to get through it.
Yeah. All right, hey, listen, appreciate the call. Sorry you're stuck in Florida. Oh, my gosh. All right, let's take our last break of the first hour. If you're on hold, stand by. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, Brian Craig here. We've been telling you on the Steve Kane Show, for coronavirus testing, stop by any lab test now of Coral Springs and any lab test now of Boca. One of our longtime sponsors, Dr. Mitch Matez of the Boca Raton Center for Age Management, went to any lab test now of Boca for coronavirus testing this weekend, and he called in live on the radio to share his experience.
Listen, Brian, I have a great experience to tell you about. I went to any lab test now on Saturday, to get COVID-19 tested. And it was awesome. We had a a little experience where we had somebody in our close circle that tested positive after 10 days, by the way. Went and had a test. It took 10 days to get the results. We all went into a little bit of a panic, obviously. So we called up Any Lab Test Now. It was about maybe 11:30 in the morning on Saturday. They said, come on right on over. I was anonymous. I didn't announce myself. We went over there. We got there about noon. We checked in. 2 minutes later, they took
I know, but
we sat in the waiting room for
I know, I'd like to go.
minutes. They brought us back, gave us our results, which were negative, and we were on our way home. And
Gonna try to get it next week.
the nice young lady
You got to be 65 still down here. It's still hard for her to get.
simple, it was easy, and it
Yeah.
gave you both the IgM and the IgG antibodies. Which
You got to be
tells you
65,
whether
yeah.
you're now or if you've been exposed
Yeah.
to it in the past.
Now, you went to Any Lab Test Now of Boca?
Boca Raton, yeah, in the Sandalfoot Plaza.
Awesome.
It was awesome. It really was. It was cool. And it's easy, it's simple, and I'm telling you, that's the way to go. Forget this 10-day nonsense.
Doctor recommended. Can I say that in the commercial now? Doctor recommended. Any Lab Test Now of Boca
There you
Raton.
go. Doctor recommended. Yeah, it was really kind of cool, and it was wonderful, and it was easy. And listen, to that end, go over and get tested. This is the test you want to get. It tells you point blank, did you have it, do you have it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
That's great. So Dr. Mitch Matez personally recommending Any Lab Test Now of Boca.
You heard Dr. Mitch Matez. Any Lab Test Now of Boca is doctor recommended for coronavirus testing. They're located in the Sandalfoot Plaza. That's where the Western Beef is, south of Palmetto Park Road and north of Hillsboro on the east side of 441. Give them a call, 561-237-5009. 561-237-5009. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs is located on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood over by the Coral Square Mall. Their number, 954-906-5983. Any Lab Test Now of Boca and Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on The Steve Kane Show.
Listen to The Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for
All right, 7 before 7. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show. Now, Any Lab Test Now of Boca and Coral Springs are also open on Saturdays. On my way into the radio station this morning, this was about 20 minutes after 5, quarter after 5 in the morning, on my way to get my coffee. I saw people lined up already, hours before it opens, one of these public testing sites. Oh, my goodness. You know, and you go to these sites, you got to wait, you got to wait, you got to wait. A lot of people got to get tested every week for their work. Any Lab Test Now of Boca and Coral Springs, you get the results on the spot. 15 minutes or less. They give you the printout with your results so you can take it to to work if you're traveling. And they have every type of COVID test there is. So when you go in, tell them what you need it for. Do you need it because you're going to school or your kids are going to school? Are you a teacher? Are you traveling? Are you traveling domestically or internationally? Or do you just want to know? Like me, I've been tested many times over there. Just because I want to know. Tell them why, and they'll make sure you get the right test, and you get that printout. Okay, again, Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs and Boca. There's lots of Any Lab Test Nows. These are the only ones advertising on the Steve Kane Show, and their prices are about half the price of anyone else. And they are both open on Saturdays. All right, let's go back to the phones before I bring up anything new. Good morning, you're on the radio.
Yes, I have three things for you. One is about Limbaugh and your black daughter. The other one is about Cuomo in New York.
Okay.
To Ted Cruz with Texas, it's funny how you so-called conservatives aren't talking about how Texas is run by right-wingers and it's all screwed up with the power grid and everything. But you're talking about other states, but it's all controlled by Republicans and it's screwed up and people are dying, and then Cruz takes this little script after lying about his house running out of power when he did an interview saying that his house was the only one that had power. Kids and they.
Well, first off, he gave an interview a few days ago where he said he had power, but that could change. So the power grid, it's run by Republicans in Texas, indeed. What's the problem with the power grid?
It's dated. It's only in Texas. And
it's dated? What about its date? Oh, this is interesting. This is interesting. You must be an expert, like you must work for a power company.
No, but
okay. Because I thought you said the power company in Texas is dated, so I assumed you had an expertise. How is it dated?
It's dated because they haven't done upgrades.
They haven't done upgrades. Why is there a power shortage in Texas? Do you know? What causes a power grid?
But I know.
Oh well, maybe before you criticize the Republicans in Texas, you should know. Now hold on a second. When we have hurricanes in Florida, we oftentimes lose power. And I imagine they're losing power for the same reason during the blizzard in Texas. Where are you calling me from? What state?
Florida.
You're in Florida. What part of Florida?
South Florida.
Okay, I'm in South Florida too. When we lose power during hurricanes here in South Florida, why do we lose power?
Because of the wind and the rain, but it's because...
Not because of the wind and the rain. No, not because of the wind and the rain. Oh my, I'm definitely a Democrat.
You tell me you have all...
Oh, I do have all the answers, and I'm going to give them to you. Of course I do. Yeah, that's why I'm on the radio. And see, you've got all the gripes, but you don't know anything. You got a lot of complaints, but you don't know.
Funny, I wonder if the Democrats ran Texas, would you have the same thing about, oh, well, it's about the power grid and why this and why that? You would blame...
No, okay, so when, let's get back to Florida, because you say you're in South Florida. When we lose power during a hurricane in Florida, we don't lose power because of the wind and the rain. That doesn't cause power to be lost. We lose power because power lines get knocked down and damaged during the storm. Okay? And I imagine in Texas, when you have a blizzard, it's very similar to a hurricane. Strong winds and everything, snow in the wake. Two things happen. Knocks down power lines, okay, and causes an interruption like we have in Florida. And it takes weeks sometimes. In fact, this happens in the Caribbean. That's why they lost power in the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico after the hurricanes, as power lines get knocked down, okay? That's not about a dated anything. It's power lines get knocked down.
So as far as you know, the system isn't dated. Do you know?
I haven't heard anybody say that but you.
No, if it is dated or if it isn't.
Well, I don't know if Martians came to Texas and knocked out the power, but that doesn't mean it's a credible possibility. What I do know is that you're a Democrat and you hate Republicans, so you want to trash Republicans. All right, move on to your next topic, move on to your next one.
Let me ask you about
Well, first off, I would like you to not ax me, because that could kill me and you might be charged with murder.
Yeah, I know. Of course, because does your daughter say ask because she...
No, my daughter says ask. Excuse me, my daughter says ask. Yeah, she was raised properly. She was raised properly by articulate parents. She was raised by articulate parents.
Yeah, I know, I bet, because you're white. Listen.
No, because we're articulate.
Yeah, of course you are. I wonder with Limbaugh, when he said all the racist things, did you ever, it's just a joke, did you ever say some of those things that he said about black people to your daughter?
Well, give me an example of a racist thing said by Rush Limbaugh.
Oh, like that black people, you take the bone out their noses.
He made a comment about something with sports, which I did read a reference about that yesterday. No, I've never told my daughter to take a bone out of her nose.
Why would you tell that she's black?
Well, I didn't hear Rush say that, but what it sounds to me...
If a tree falls in the woods, then you didn't hear it. Did it happen?
It seems to me that was one line of a joke, which may or not been funny, but you believe that Rush Limbaugh was a racist, is what you're telling me.
Anybody who listens to him will know he's...
Anybody who listens knows he's a racist. Are you familiar with Bo Snerdley, his producer?
Yeah, he's a black guy, yeah. But...
Well, no, excuse me. He's not just a black guy. Hold on. The Rush Limbaugh program is the #1 radio program in the history of radio, which is over 100 years old. Excuse me, slow down first. Hey, listen. I know you don't want to hear anything other than that'll get through your stereotypes. Rush Limbaugh's program is the #1 radio show in the history of radio. The Bo Snerdley, what a low-life person you are, to say that about a man who is just passed away. But excuse me, let me finish. See, I know you don't want to hear the truth. You say he was a racist. When the #1 guy that runs his entire radio show has the #2 job in radio in America, he chooses an African American to have that position and pays him a hell of a lot of money. What kind of racist has his entire highly rated radio show run by an African American if he's a racist and pays him a huge six-figure salary? Can you explain that to me? What kind of racist would do that?
Yeah, there were a bunch of slave owners who.
No, but they weren't paid. Bo Snerdley wasn't a Now listen. Okay. Now listen here. Now listen. Now maybe you got a different education than I've received. Okay, but I wasn't aware that the slaves on the plantation were paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year like Bo Snerdley. I thought they were slave labor for free.
No, but some of them were allowed to sleep in the big house.
Excuse me, Bo Snerdley doesn't sleep at Rush's mansion. He's got his own house somewhere that he's able to buy with a huge salary. How do I know? I know that he's got the number 2 job in broadcasting, making a huge salary, and he makes a lot of money.
It's funny, you have a black daughter, but you appraise a racist like Rush Limbaugh.
He's not. Excuse me. Rush Limbaugh was not a racist. If he would, you see, it's what you're saying is illogical. What you're saying is illogical. Oh.
And he's dead. That's good. Listen, now to Cuomo. It's funny how you.
No, we don't have time for that. I'm sorry. It's time for a break. I'm sorry. See, this is how liberals operate. They don't want truth to get in, and you know, this is why there hasn't been a successful liberal radio talk show host, because there's no logic when it comes to liberalism. If Rush was a racist, the guy running his entire operation would not have been an African American who makes a lot of money and is now fielding all kinds of offers, I would imagine, as one of the most sought out people in broadcasting. Bo Snerdley. That's just a stupid comment. It's like calling me or Steve a racist when we have interracial families. All right, we'll take a break. 3 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. We'll be back. Second hour, well, it's already begun because I'm late for the break, but we'll say it starts now.
AM 1470, FM 95.3, 96.9. South Florida's FM Money Talk Radio Network. WWNN, Pompano Beach.
If you suffer with diabetes, there's a 25% chance
What an idiot.
you'll develop a foot ulcer that can
He wasn't a
lead to
bully.
severe health consequences, including amputation. At the sole authority, at little or no cost, you can receive
Lynn
your
Samuels?
very own
Oh, please.
shoes and custom inserts.
Not bad
Medicare
is not great.
recipients are entitled to 1 pair of quality diabetic shoes and 3 custom inserts. Call the sole authority today, 954-597-7060.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of My Pillow. Here to tell you about my Giza Dream bed sheets. I made sure that they would be everything you'd ever want in a sheet set. I started with the world's finest cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region where the Sahara Desert, the Nile River, and the Mediterranean Sea all meet. The long staple cotton makes my Giza Dream sheets ultra soft and durable. They come with extra wide pillowcases to fit over any pillow and extra deep pockets to fit over any mattress. Not only that, they come with my 60-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty. And now you can get the best sheets ever for the best price ever. When you buy one of my Giza Dream bed sheet sets, you'll get another one absolutely free. I personally guarantee that they'll be the most comfortable sheets you'll ever own.
Use the promo code KANE at checkout, and when you buy a set of Giza Dream Sheets, get a second set free. But you've got to use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at MyPillow.com or call 1-800-716-4879.
This is Dr. Mitchell Matez. I'm excited to announce that my practice has morphed
Steve Kane Show.
into the BioStation. To all of my existing patients, please be assured that you will continue to receive the same quality and personalized care that you are accustomed to. We will be located at Atlantic Avenue and Lyons Road in the Joseph's Market Shopping Center, directly across from the Delray Marketplace. Call me at my new office number, 561-320-8893. That's 561-320-8893.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout South Florida, from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782.
If you're new here, make sure you subscribe.
Longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll free, dial 1-888-GO-KANE 1. That's 1-888-GO-KANE 1. Heck.
All right, hour number 2 has begun. 6 minutes after 7. My name is Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. If you're watching on YouTube, you can check it out. I am wearing my MyPillow bathrobe. I wore it into the studio today, and I wanted to show you guys. And when you go to MyPillow.com and use the promo code Kane, you can actually get this bathrobe I'm wearing for 30% off. It comes in many different colors. The color I'm wearing is gray. My wife has white. There's other colors as well. And the size I'm wearing, if you're curious, is medium. They come in other sizes too. And this robe has been washed several times. I don't know how many, but many times. And it's a soft, fresh, looks as new as the day it arrived in the mail. And this is the softest, most comfortable bathrobe I have ever worn. I'm telling you. And I've worn some fancy bathrobes in some fancy places. This is so comfortable, so soft, and it's just perfect. I love it. I wear it all the time at home in the evenings and on the weekends a lot more. I'm lounging around the house, and I thought I'd wear it in to show you guys today. And again, 30% off the MyPillow bathrobe with the promo code Kane, K-A-N-E. And as I was saying at the beginning of the show at 6, Mike Lindell is under tremendous amounts of persecution for being a strong supporter of President Trump. And don't just take my word for it. Go to Google and do a Google News search. Just put in Mike Lindell, and you will see page after page of hardcore harassment he is receiving. And he needs your support. He's being frozen out of a lot of the big retailers. He needs your support. So go to MyPillow.com. There's lots of great things there to order. I have many MyPillow products. The bathrobe, I love this bathrobe. It's awesome. And the pockets are right in the perfect spot. I love it. 30% off with the promo code Kane, K-A-N-E, at MyPillow.com. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879, 1-800-716-4879. All right, our number, 1-888-GO-KANE, 1-888-465-2631. I'll take another call or two before I bring up some new topics. We've been talking about flying Ted Cruz and how that's really not a big deal when you put in perspective what Cuomo did. All right, Richie the bus driver, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. I have to respond to this last person that called you up, okay? And first of all, yesterday you had photo of the Nazi, and he is a Nazi. Whether he be a Democrat or a Republican, he's a Nazi. This guy that just called you up, you said, I disagree with you. You said this is how Democrats think. This guy that called you up, point blank, was a black racist. And there are plenty of black racists, and you just heard one. To bring up your daughter, it's all about color. Everything in this guy's life has been about color. Because he come out, he exposed himself, you exposed him, but it's not Democrat. There are decent Democrats. But there are racist Republicans and there are racist Democrats. And you don't have to be white to be a racist. And that's what the problem in this country is now.
Well, see, the thing with racists, because I've known racists in my time, racists don't think they're racist. They think that what they're seeing is just reality. Like that last guy, he doesn't think he's racist. He just grew up in Democrat Broward County, going to the Democrat Broward County public schools, and been brainwashed and takes offense. And he's upset that my daughter says ask instead of ax. I mean, come on.
English, that's proper English. It's not hood English. It's not right.
Yeah, Steve's kids don't say ax. Steve's kids say ask.
But if he heard one of Steve's kids speak, you'd say he's an Uncle Tom.
I mean, would you want to go to surgery and have a surgeon about to cut you open want to ask you some questions before he cuts you open? I don't think so. I want to bring something up real fast.
Dan Bongino, did you hear about that?
What happened?
He came on Hannity last night. He got a clean bill of health on his cancer, but then they gave him an MRI and he's got lesions on his lung.
Well, what does that mean? I don't know what that means.
Could be cancer of the lungs.
He's not trying to get Rush sympathy, is he? I mean,
No, and Bob Dole, by the way,
Well, Bob Dole is 90. He's got stage 4 cancer, and I read he's going to go through full cancer treatment. He's a fighter. You know, I met Bob Dole a couple times, and I met him once during the 2000 recount here in Florida, and it was absolutely amazing. This was like right after he lost the election, right? Because it's like 4 years later. And it was at the Broward County Governmental Center in Plantation, which is where they first counted the ballots in the recount. And I drove up and I heard what I thought was Bob Dole speaking, and I thought they were just playing something on a speaker. And I walked up and it was him. And I went up to him when he was done speaking, and I said, Senator, can I shake your hand? Because I was excited to meet Bob Dole. And, you know, he doesn't have the use of his right hand, and he did shake hands with me left-handed. But he was really, it was hard for him. He was really maimed in the Second World War. He was wounded in Italy, and I know people have seen him holding the pen in his hand. For him to go through life suffering like he's been doing is an amazing feat. And I'll tell you now, I don't know for sure, but when I shook hands with him, to me it looked like he was in pain. You know, and so he's lived a life of a severe disability. He doesn't have the use of his right arm, and it looked to me like he was in pain. So I mean, he's a great man, Bob Dole. We don't have Republicans like that anymore.
Can I bring up one of your pleasures in life? Okay, you said you don't want to go to CPAC.
I can't hear. You got to speak up because you're cutting out. I don't know if speaking up will help. Your cell's cutting out.
Oh no! All right, you said you don't want to go to CPAC because of people coming in from all over the world.
But I go to Disney World, right?
Yeah, you do go to Disney.
Yeah, I'm going tomorrow with my daughter. We're going to Disney World tomorrow.
But I don't know if you're aware of what Disney World is putting on their Disney station, trying to poison the minds of young people with this race thing. Do you have any idea what they're trying to tell? What they're teaching in the schools, Disney's got on TV to try to poison kids' minds.
Oh, you mean on Disney Plus? What are they doing?
Doing that race thing, like a cartoon with the races that what they're teaching in school to the kids now.
Oh, I don't know. Well, okay, you ask why. Okay, you ask the difference between CPAC and going to why, you know, because CPAC's in Orlando, and I really would like to go to CPAC. Okay, I've wanted to go for years. Now, last year, I'm not going because of COVID. And last year, it was like a super spreader event. So many people got COVID from CPAC last year. Yeah, a lot of people did. Now, I know this isn't last year, but CPAC is inside a hotel room. Inside of a hotel, not a room, but you go inside small breakout conference room, you know, like rooms the size where we had your thing on the cruise with the blackjack lesson. And I'm not going to go inside these tiny enclosed rooms with people from all over the country, none of them wearing masks at CPAC, and risk myself exposing my wife. I'm not going to do it. Like when I went to the Trump event up in Palm Beach on Monday, on President's Day, when I was among thousands of people walking around, hardly a mask in sight. That's different. It's outside. When you're inside with that many people, it's too risky.
Well, right, it came to me. Critical race theory, Disney are teaching on their station.
Oh.
Young kids.
Okay.
What do you think of that? You support this corporation who's anti-Republican,
Yeah, you know, they're a bunch of snowflakes. I was up at Disney a while back, and they had the president of the Disney parks there. And he was some snowflake wearing skinny pants. You know how these snowflakes wear? You know, I know the skinny pants. You know, so I know they're liberal, but what am I going to do? Not enjoy my life? Because Walt Disney was a great Republican, and he would be sickened by what they've done to his company and turn it into this liberal snowflake company.
over in his grave over there.
Yeah, he would.
I want to wish you a nice weekend. Enjoy yourself.
Well, when I'm at Disney World, okay, when I'm at Disney World with my daughter, we're about 90% outside. 90% outside.
Go up there with your white privilege and have a good time. Because
okay.
That just calls you up has to know that you have white privilege too.
That's right. Take care. Yeah. And, I'll tell you another thing about CPAC, though. I'm a little upset at CPAC on top of that. And I saw this today. Marjorie Taylor Greene has not been invited to speak at CPAC this year. And CPAC is kind of like the conservative Comic-Con, okay? And as far as I'm concerned, Marjorie Taylor Greene is the superstar Republican in the House of Representatives right now. And for her not to be invited to CPAC tells me that CPAC is a bunch of Republican establishment snobs. And listen to this. This is it says here, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene was not invited to speak at the CPAC conference this year in Florida. Several freshman Republican lawmakers were invited to speak at the annual conference, but Marjorie Taylor Greene was left off the invite list. So what she's doing is Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to be speaking at another event down the street from CPAC. There's an organization called Republicans for National Renewal, and they're going to be down the street, which they say is a 2-minute walk from where CPAC is going to be. And they said, oh, open bar. I might drive to Orlando for that. Open bar? Ooh, I like that. Yeah, open bar with Marjorie Taylor Greene. That's worth the trip to Orlando. No, but CPAC not inviting Marjorie Taylor Greene is very upsetting to me because she is the future of MAGA, okay? And if CPAC's not supporting her, that means the Republican establishment are openly snubbing her. That's not right. She should be an honored guest, treated as one of the keynote speakers at CPAC. After what they did, tossing her off those committees, that's outrageous. And CPAC should be highlighting Marjorie Taylor Greene. Who do you have in the Congress right now that is more MAGA than Marjorie Taylor Greene? So CPAC, I don't. That's really upsetting that they're not having her there, that she's not invited there. That's outrageous. All right, listen, we'll take our break. 18 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. We will take our break and be back right after this. Do not go anywhere.
Steve Kane for attorney Barry Siegel. Barry did a great job for me and my family when we needed a revocable living trust. Listen to one of our listeners, Ray, talk about his experience with Barry Siegel.
I want to praise Barry Siegel, and one of the most important things about sponsors is integrity. You have to know that you're dealing with an honest person. I had to go up to Myrtle Beach with my sister because her husband died, and I was helping her out. She had a trust and everything. She had not revised this trust since 1997, and Barry says every 3 years at least you got to. I called Barry's office because I had a question. I let the secretary know. So look, I'm calling from South Carolina. I know the laws are different, and I'm just asking for information for my sister. Now, most people just blow you off, right? Almost immediately, within a few minutes, Barry himself called me. I asked my questions and so on, and he answered. He was very patient. I was quite a while with him, and I talked about a lot of things, and this and that. But I wanted to say, character, integrity, these are the most important things with sponsors, and all of your sponsors, because I've dealt with a lot of them, they all have that you can trust them and you're getting a fair shake.
Do what Ray did. Call attorney Barry Siegel right now. Toll free 1-855-FLA-3782. That's 1-855 toll free FLA-3782. Tell them Steve sent you.
Homeowners, would you like to save money each and every month? Of course you would. We all want to save more money. But how? By calling I Will Advisors, that's how, at 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080. And have their expert team review your homeowner's policy. I Will Advisors
Steve Kane Show.
Your policy at no charge.
They done.
Most homeowners never review their policy, but it should be reviewed every year. You commercial property owners, same goes for your property insurance policy. So what are you waiting for? Call I Will Advisors and start saving money. 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Search for W.
All right, 20 minutes after the hour, I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. If you're on hold, stand by. AOC is going vegan for Lent. Yes. It says here, Democratic New York Rep Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is giving up meat for Lent in honor of Maryland Rep. Jamie Raskin's late son, who was an outspoken vegan and animal lover who died on New Year's Eve at the age of 25. She said she wanted to adopt a vegetarian diet for Lent in his memory. You know, I wish for Lent she'd give up communism. How about that? Or maybe her support for abortion. For Lent, now I've not given up anything for Lent this year. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't go to Mass on Ash Wednesday. You know, there was a lot of talk about Mass on Ash Wednesday, which usually we go to. I don't think we went last year because we were at the beginnings of COVID last year. But they were talking about putting the ashes on with Q-tips and things like this, and I just didn't. I don't feel comfortable going into a church right now because of everything that's been going on. But what the priest have always said in Mass with me when it comes to Lent is you're supposed to give up something that you like. He said and one example I remember a priest once gave in Mass was a lot of people give up chocolate. Well, chocolate's not good for you. You got to give up something, not just that you enjoy, but don't do something that's like a health benefit. You know what I mean? That you should be giving up anyway, right? You got to give up something that is tough for you to give up. Like, binge watching or something. I don't know. You got to think of something good. Giving up meat. If AOC was really living Lent, she'd give up communism just for Lent. But there she is. It's hard for me to believe that she's a practicing Catholic. I'm very surprised to hear that because the Pope has said, even this Pope, who's pretty left wing, that the entire Catholic Mass is a build up to communion. And communion is a big deal. In Protestant churches, communion is just a symbolic thing. It's the communion of the people in the church. It's not. It's a big thing. It is really the body and the blood of Christ. It's a big deal. And you're in communion with the Catholic Church. And if you're not in communion with the Catholic Church, you cannot receive Holy Communion according to the Pope. And very specifically, if you support abortion, you cannot receive Holy Communion, according to this Pope and the previous Pope, Pope Benedict. And in particular, members of government who are responsible for legislation that allows abortion to be a thing, to happen, to be committed, to take place, are the worst of all. So AOC, Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, John Kerry, and all the rest are in violation of what the popes have said. They are not to take Holy Communion. And if she went to Mass on Ash Wednesday, which I'm assuming she did, she's talking about giving up things for Lent, and she received Holy Communion, that was wrong of her to do it. And I really take offense to that. I know those of you that aren't Catholic may not think it's a big deal, but I believe it is. And I think it's an insult to the church. It's an insult to all other Catholics. And I don't care for it. I don't like it. It's not right. Okay? And it really burns me. The liberal media are very anti-religion. But they take Democrats like AOC and Joe Biden, and they hold them up to this standard of being great Christians, great Catholics. They are not. They're violating Catholicism by receiving Holy Communion because of their not only verbal support of abortion, but they're involved in legislation that allows it to happen. It's as if they've done it themselves. And that's just wrong. And, there's all these stories about how Biden goes to Mass every week and AOC with the Lent. And none of them mention what I'm mentioning to you. None of them are Catholics in good standing. In fact, they should probably be excommunicated because of their abortion stance, all these people. All right, 1-888-GO-CANE-1. That is the number, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. Good morning, you're on the... oh, by the way, before I say that, I've told you guys, I'm pro-life, obviously. But I'm also opposed to the death penalty, okay? I don't support the death penalty. And if I did support the death penalty, I would not be in communion with the church and would not be permitted, according to the Pope, to receive Holy Communion. And you know what? I wouldn't. And when I went through, my wife and I became Catholic about 10 years ago. And we went through almost a year long of classes at the church before you become Catholic. And we went to Mass every week and never received communion because we're not permitted to receive communion until we accept and become, Catholic. And there's a process. But I could have snuck up and got it. No one would have known I'm not Catholic. You don't have some mark on your body. But I didn't do it out of respect for the church. I mean, that's just me. I guess I'm different than AOC and Biden. All right, Doug, you're on the air. Good morning.
Okay, Conservative Doug. Yeah, I certainly don't agree with capital punishment. I think that's a terrible thing. How many people have been executed and found out that they weren't the ones that did it? So anyhow. But this AOC bartender, she's a disgrace to the whole country. I don't know how anybody wants to hear anything she has to say. She's a real idiot.
Well, I question the bartender thing. I mean, I've never seen her. I've talked about this a lot with AOC. There's a difference between being a bartender and serving people beers. Okay, and I would imagine if she was a real bartender can mix drinks, right? I've never seen her do that. And it seems to me that when she was running, especially the first time, I mean, think about how much money she could raise for some left-wing charity if they had a mixer where you would pay $500 or $1,000 a person, maybe $1,500 or $2,000 a person, and have a drink made by AOC. I mean, that'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? But I've never seen her do anything like Bruce Willis was a bartender. He could make a drink. I don't think AOC knows. I think she worked at that place, but I think she just, it was a beer and wine bar.
Good idea. She'll be making money now doing that.
Oh, she's got all kinds of ways to make money. She doesn't need advice from me.
Sure. It's funny, but you mentioned she's not going to eat meat. Did you hear that Bill Gates' character wants to have everybody eat man-made meat now? That's easy.
Now I don't follow Bill Gates too much, but I'm assuming. Yeah, I heard this story. He wants people to eat the fake stuff. I'm assuming he's a vegan, right?
No, he eats meat.
He does eat meat? He's not a vegan?
No, he likes hamburgers mostly.
He likes hamburgers? He's going to give them up for fake? I have tried the fake meat stuff, and I've never had any that tasted good. None.
I even saw pictures of it. It doesn't look appetizing.
I've tried all those things that are soy and all. Nothing. Ugh.
Yeah, it's not Star Trek yet when they have the food synthesizer, but maybe someday. But right now, he's investing in it, so that's he also is investing in something that is going to take carbon out of you into concrete, the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
Well, this is the thing with Bill Gates, okay? Bill Gates is a one-hit wonder, but boy, did he have a big hit, right? I mean, and he revolutionized the computer industry, and is just what he did with Windows is incredible. But that doesn't mean that he knows that he's a genius on other things. So he doesn't when he's talking about all these other things that are not in his area of expertise, he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. And they let this guy talk about anything, medical things, food, they go to obviously you could talk about anything you want. It's America, right? But they go to him as if he's an oracle of all knowledge on everything.
Well, no, because he has money. When you have money, and then he backs people that have these great ideas, supposedly, and then he's an investor.
Yeah. I mean, he did a great job with Windows, but, what have you done lately?
He just, what he does now, I understand, he owns more farmland than anybody else in America.
Yes, that's what I've heard, yeah.
That's dangerous. Anyway, listen, I also heard that Rush Limbaugh
Steve
was
Kane
on
Show.
steroids. That's what was making him able to continue.
Hey, Barry.
Steroids was giving him the energy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, Doug, take care. Thanks so much. All right, on the line, we have attorney Barry Siegel, our estate planning and elder law attorney. Good morning, attorney Barry Siegel.
Good morning. How are you, Brian?
I'm doing well. What do you have for us today?
What I have today is just simply probate. Probate is going to court. Probate is the process of going to court to have someone who recently passed away to have their assets transferred, but with the assistance of the court system. If any of us have ever been to court for anything, whether it be a traffic ticket or a divorce or a legal dispute or anything, we know court's not really a place we want to go. Why? Well, first of all, it's expensive. There's court costs. There's lawyers and their fees. There's the time involved, the hassle involved, having a judge involved making decisions, the fact that it's a public process. Anybody can go into the clerk's office, open up the file, and see what's going on. Completely open to the public. So it's the same thing with probate. Probate is a court process. It's something that can be easily avoided. But what you have to do is you have to plan ahead. You have to plan ahead so that you're not leaving a mess for your loved ones. You're leaving a gift to them by avoiding probate, making sure that people receive their inheritance in a way where it's protected and a court intervention. And that's really the gift you can do by making sure that you have an estate plan, one that's set up, one that works, one that's going to remain updated. That's what you can do.
Well, let me ask you, because probate, you know, when you have a revocable living trust, it's instant. Everything's done right away. There's no worries. When there's probate, how long does it take for someone's heirs to receive what they're supposed to receive if they go through the probate process here in Florida?
You know, it can take perhaps 9 months on the short end, a couple of years or more.
Oh my goodness!
On it.
Oh my goodness! And who pays these lawyers? What if you don't have money for lawyers and you're an heir? You have no money. You can't get your inheritance. How do you pay for the lawyers? Oh my goodness!
Well, yeah. I mean, sometimes the lawyers will take some of the fee once the probate is open in the state.
Oh wow!
Otherwise, people have to come up with it themselves.
Good luck with that, especially in the economy we're in now. Who can afford to hire attorneys by the hour like that? Listen, don't have that happen to you. You know, I've seen people have to go through probate, and it's terrible. It's terrible, and it does take a long time, and it eats up the estate. And I know that most people I know don't have money to hire probate attorneys for a couple of years to be working for them. Give attorney Barry Siegel a call. It's a completely free consultation for listeners of the Steve Kane Show. 855-FLA-3782, 855-FLA-3782, and online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Barry Siegel, have a great weekend, and we'll talk next week. All right, take care, take care. Now, guys, if you're watching on YouTube, I am wearing my MyPillow bathrobe today. I'm broadcasting in my MyPillow bathrobe. I am dressed underneath it. I'm not wearing pajamas underneath. I'm wearing a T-shirt and pants, but I'm wearing my MyPillow bathrobe. So if you go on my YouTube channel, you can get a look at this very comfortable robe, and I'm modeling it right now on YouTube. And the size I'm wearing is medium, and this robe is so soft. It is so comfortable. It's. I mean, I've been wearing it now for 2 hours. I got here at 5:30ish this morning. I wore it into the radio station this morning. It's very comfortable, and I really love these. The pockets. Mike Lindell's brilliant. The pockets on the robe, they're in the perfect spot, so you can have I have my hands in the pockets. I'm standing here, and they're just in the perfect position. They're not on the side. They're towards the front, but not all the way in the front. This is just a perfect robe. It comes in many different colors, many different sizes, and you get 30% off when you use the promo code KANE at checkout, KANE at mypillow.com, or you can call 1-800-716-4879, 1-800-716-4879. Go on YouTube Live right now, on Brian Craig on YouTube, and you can see me in my MyPillow bathrobe. All right, let's go back to our phones. You're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, you're on the air. What's your name?
Weezy. You don't know my voice by now?
Well, you didn't say anything yet. Yes, good morning, Weezy.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing all right. You don't sound too good, though. You sound kind of depressed.
No, I'm actually in the emergency room.
Oh, my goodness. What's wrong?
Well, I have things left over from COVID, which you say I didn't have, which that's what you told your audience.
I don't know. No. So which one of the treatments that Donald Trump allowed to be developed through Operation Warp Speed do you want them to give you?
Yes. My doctor just came in. I'm going to have to actually get off the phone.
Okay, well, let me know. I hope things go well, Weezy. All right, good luck on those Trump COVID drugs that you'll be giving. I mean, I want you to think about this lady. She'll call back maybe Monday because she did have COVID, and it was one of the first times Weezy called in. She had said that she had COVID, and if I remember correctly, she was calling us from the hospital. This is at least the first time she calls that I remembered. And I asked her which medication she was taking. She says, I'm taking the same one that President Trump was getting and Walter Reed, which was, I don't remember which one that was offhand. Maybe you guys do. You can let me know. And she hates Trump like with a passion. And I said, you are receiving a treatment for COVID that was developed because of President Trump in Operation Warp Speed, cutting through all the red tape. You should be loving President Trump more than I do, if that's even possible. And she still hates him. And did you hear her tone? COVID, she's having something going on with COVID right now. She's back in the ER. And I said to her, which one of the Trump treatments will you be receiving? And then she gets all upset. I mean, President Trump has at least on one occasion saved her life. Saved her life. And she still hates him. So, you know, when you talk about reaching across the aisle and everything, when you've saved someone's life and they still hate you, that's something. I mean, that's hard to overcome. Poor President Trump. Oh my goodness. Well, I hope Weezy's okay. I wish she would have gotten on a few minutes early so we could find out and make sure she's okay. Because of course, you know, we wish everyone well, and I hope that those Trump drugs that they give her in the emergency room do her well. Now, this really blew my mind today. Let me pull this story up. I had it pulled up, and then I rebooted my iPad. Oh, here it is. There is a new poll out. This is amazing. This is a post-second impeachment poll of President Trump's approval rating. President Trump's approval rating is now at 59%. Wow. January 6th, it was down to 41. Now it's at 59% in the latest polling that has been done. This is absolutely amazing. I mean, over 50,000 people showed up on President's Day. Basically a 60% approval rating for President Trump. Sounds like 2024 is a lock. All right, let's go back to the phones. Let's see. Hopefully this is Weezy from the ER. Good morning.
No, it's not Weezy.
Oh, okay.
Not Weezy.
Okay, go ahead.
If I could have orchestrated the perfect display of leftists, that was it.
Yeah.
Because why are you calling the radio show from a hospital? Irrational non-thinking.
You mean like Trump derangement syndrome? I mean, I want you to think about this now, because this is all true. She told me that she received the same medication that President Trump got at Walter Reed, that he allowed to be developed, right, that he fast-tracked. President Trump saved her life with COVID, and he may be doing it again if she has some COVID problems that she's in the hospital for again, and she still hates the man.
Exactly. And I was the one that called, that got red pill.
Oh, okay.
You asked me a question. You said, what was the one thing? And I would like to retract my answer.
Okay.
The thing that I found out was that the lies the media spun about this man were just so insurmountable. I was actually ashamed of myself. So when people like Weezy call in, I get embarrassed because that used to be me before I got to be clear-headed.
Now, this is, okay, here's the thing with Weezy, okay? Here's the thing with Weezy. Weezy has woken up to the truth through her conversations with me over the past weeks and months or however long she's been calling the show. And she just can't publicly come out of the closet yet. It's kind of like when someone's about to come out of the closet as gay. They know they're gay long before they come out of the closet. They just can't get themselves to say they're gay. That's Weezy. Trump saved her life. We've had several conversations. She's woken up, but she just can't admit it yet.
Well, I everything turns out well for her.
Of course, of course.
No, I'm ordering the robe.
Oh, great. That's awesome. Are you married? Oh, I was going to say, get one for your husband, too, because I got one for my wife. My wife has white, I have gray. And the reason I got gray is I'm kind of messy around the house. You know what I mean? So I figured, the darker color was better for me. Well, when you get your robe, make sure you use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, and then call and tell me your experience with the robe after you wear it a couple times.
I will. Thank you very much.
All right. Take care. All right. Thanks so much. Yeah, that's right. 30% off. Promo code KANE, K-A-N-E. And I can tell in her voice, by the way, Weezy, that there's a change. Because if you notice, when I bring these things up, she doesn't say as much as she used to. There's a transition. Most people that are Democrat, they're liberal because they don't know any different. They're born that way. And they're not, liberals, they own the university system and the education system, and they think that they're free thinkers and there's differing ideas, but they're never exposed. See, liberals are all into ethnic diversity, religious diversity, sexuality diversity, but not diversity of thought. And when liberals get involved in conversations with conservatives like me and Steve or Rush or people like us, they realize that their opinions are based on a whole bunch of negative stereotypes about conservatives and conservatism that's just not true. Like, I remember my grandfather was a union guy, Democrat union guy, and this goes way back. I can remember this so clear. This goes back to the Jimmy Carter. I was just a little kid. But this goes back to the Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan campaign back in 1980. And I remember he told me the difference between Democrats and Republicans is that Democrats care about the working man and Republicans care about the rich and big business. Well, that may have been true at some time in our past. I don't know. That may have been true at some point, but it's certainly not the truth now. And, the Republican Party is not the party of big business. It's the party of small business. I mean, look at this. I played this clip on the air yesterday or the day before. Jen Psaki was answering a question. What has Biden done to help small businesses? He hired a woman to run the Small Business Administration. Oh, well, how does that help someone's business? You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. That doesn't help anyone's business. They're the party of big business, the Democrats, not small business. It's the total opposite of that, and there's other things too, but I just know one day, I don't know when, but one day we're going to get a call from Weezy and she's going to say, "You're right." But it's very difficult because she's an older lady. This is all she knows. Her entire circle feel the way she has felt in the past. And coming out as a conservative to her husband, her family, her circle, her contacts, that's not an easy thing to do because they're going to think she's crazy, and you know how tolerant liberals are, right? They're going to want to try to cancel her from their own family, okay? That's how they operate. But I can tell in her tone. And I think the wake-up call for her was the conversation about COVID when I said, well, President Trump saved your life. And she called me from the hospital room. She was receiving the Trump medication in an IV as she was talking to me. And it never occurred to her until I said it to her that President Trump saved her life. And I could tell right then from that first conversation that she was waking up. And maybe she has fully already. Maybe that's one of the reasons she calls me, is she's trying to get the guts to come out of the closet as a Trump-loving conservative woman. All right, listen, we'll take our last break of the second hour. Steve will be joining us at the top of the hour. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE, 1-888-465-2631, 1-888-465-2631. We'll take our break and be right back after this. Don't go anywhere.
This is Dr. Mitchell Matez of the Biostation West Delray. I'm so happy happy to be able to now offer the latest and most comprehensive approach to health, wellness, and anti-aging at my new West Delray location. In addition to the hormone therapies you are accustomed to, we can now offer testing for all of your health concerns, including vitamin and nutrient levels, cardiac risk panels, immune system markers, and much, much more. We also offer the full array of aesthetic modalities, including Botox, fillers, lasers, etc., as well as the latest state-of-the-art non-invasive treatments for erectile dysfunction, private IV suites, personal patient advocates, and comprehensive wellness, all in a spectacular new setting. Call me at my new office number, 561-320-8893. That's 561-320-8893 to schedule your appointment today.
If you suffer with diabetes, did you know there's a 25% chance that you will develop a foot ulcer at some point in your life? And foot ulcers, when you have diabetes, can lead to severe health consequences up to and including amputation. Now, Medicare recognizes the importance of preventative foot care and has provided coverage for those of you who are at-risk patients. I want to introduce you to my good friends at the Soul Authority. With the Soul Authority, at little or no cost, you can receive your very own pair of therapeutic shoes made specially for diabetics. You're probably not aware, but as a diabetic Medicare recipient, you are entitled to one pair of high-quality diabetic shoes with 3 custom inserts per year. These are not the ugly Frankenstein shoes. These are name-brand shoes. They're stylish. They'll provide you with the extra width and extra depth to stop diabetic foot problems before they begin. Oftentimes, amputation due to diabetes is preventable, and one of the preventable measures that is most effective is wearing the proper shoes. Call the Soul Authority at 954-597-7060 or online at thesoulauthority.com. That's THESOLE authority.com. Tell them Steve Kane sent you.
This is Lori Kane, and I want to tell you about Brighton Dental Care. I just had a lot of work done, and I avoided going to the dentist for a lot of years because I was afraid of the cost. But I went to Brighton Dental for my free consultation, which, by the way, he offers to all Steve Kane listeners. I had 2 cavities, I needed a crown on top and a crown on the bottom. If I were a horse, they would have put me down. So I scheduled my appointment for the next Saturday because Brighton Dental has Saturday appointments available, and they saved me a ton of money. And I will be a patient for life. Don't let cost stop you from taking care of your teeth. Brighton Dental gives Steve Kane listeners incredible discounts on all dental procedures, just like they gave me. Prices are so reasonable, you don't have to worry about the cost. So call Brighton Dental today at 954-922-4633. That's 954-922-4633.
Steve Kane Show.
922-4633.
Hold on.
Visit them at brightondental.com and tell them Lori Kane sent you.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WWNN.
All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. This is the Steve Kane Show. It is 11 before 8. Steve will be joining us in the next hour. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE, 1-888-465-2631. Good morning. You're on the radio.
Good morning.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you're on the air.
This is Cheryl.
Hey, Cheryl. What's on your mind?
Good show this morning. There's so many things on my mind. Marjorie Taylor Greene, we need to support her and not support the Republican Party until they support supporting those that the people support.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, where do I even go from here? AOC, abortion, Deuteronomy 32:35. Vengeance is mine, and I will repay, saith the Lord. That is so important when you talk.
Well, listen, you cannot talk the Bible with liberals because, like, I remember once, many years ago, where are you calling me from, by the way? Oh, you're in Washington State. Okay. Many years ago, in the 80s and 90s, there was an evangelical minister here in South Florida who was very well known, Dr. D. James Kennedy. He's very well known nationally, and he was fighting against a gay activist all the time. He's passed away. But I was at his church one day, and he was debating a gay activist about something or other, and they took questions from the audience, and the kids from from the youth group got up and asked questions of the gay activist, and every one of them quoted a Bible verse. How can you say that being gay is okay when, and then they quote a Bible verse? When you're talking to liberals, you're talking to the godless. Look at how they're acting with Rush Limbaugh. And when you quote the Bible to them, you might as well be quoting Huck Finn. You understand what I mean? They think the Bible's a novel.
But here's just getting a verse into means because he says it will never return void. So getting it in is just the first step.
I understand, but you're not going to. They don't believe in the Bible. They don't believe in the Bible, and they think you're a kook. The way that you, the way that you talk to you don't talk to liberals like you talk to Bible-believing conservatives, okay? For example, with AOC, she believes that we are science deniers because climate change. We don't believe in climate change because it doesn't exist. Man-made climate change doesn't exist. The globe is always changing, but we're not doing it, okay? And so you got to use science. And this abortion, Roe v. Wade and all these abortion decisions. Roe v. Wade was in 1973, and all of the laws that have abortion legal on demand are based on medical science from the 1960s and 70s, when premature children did not live outside the womb at such early gestation as they do today. So they're the science deniers. And when you get into that, and I'll tell you another thing too about abortion. It wasn't all that long ago when a woman who was out of wedlock and pregnant was shunned in society. Okay, and back in the 70s and 80s, this was like when Bush 1 was president and Dan Quayle was vice president. There was a big scandal over Murphy Brown. Never watched Murphy Brown, but he was Murphy Brown was a character played by, I think it was Candace Bergen was Murphy Brown on a sitcom, and she was pregnant out of wedlock, and Dan Quayle went public. He was vice president with Bush 1 and said what a poor example this is to. Today, I was watching an old Love Boat episode the other day, and a woman came on board who was single and pregnant. And when she told Doc that she was pregnant, and he said, "Oh, where's your husband?" "I don't have a husband." He says, "Oh," and they had dramatic music play, and that was like 1980. It's not like that today. So, with abortion, science has advanced. Children can live at an early age. There's no shame with the out of wedlock births. And all of their things that they support abortion with are based on outdated social norms and, Mm-hmm.
That it's a clump of, it looks like a clump of cells. My daughter-in-law, bless her heart, she works as care nurse, and one of the things that they encourage the women to do is actually see that baby, that ultrasound.
Yeah, well, they should. They should. I'll tell you, The problem, though, that this is a big problem. There's a big problem with Christian pro-life people. And the way to win the abortion business, the argument of it, is, and I don't mean business like Planned Parenthood, I mean like the argument, is they don't promote adoption. It's mentioned here and there. My daughter is adopted. Steve Kane has 7 children, 6 of which are adopted. My mother's adopted. Okay, and my mother is 69 years old. She was adopted in 1951. So if pro-life people really wanted to win the abortion argument, the abortion debate, and slow down abortions, they would promote adoption. People don't understand adoption. They think adoption is expensive. It takes a long time. A lot of times there's a negative stigma. A lot of people, a lot of men. I can't raise somebody else's child. That's the kind of thing. So if Christian pro-life people got more involved with promoting adoption, they would be more successful than being perceived as anti-abortion. You understand what I mean? A
great license or a bumper sticker one time that said, "You too were a former fetus."
Yeah, but you're not going to win going that argument. And there's such a, a lot of times a lot of time, like I had a caller about an hour ago who says, I want to talk about your black daughter, liberal guy. And a lot of people think that Steve and I talk about our black children because we're showing off, right? Like, oh, we got black kids. We're not. We're promoting interracial adoption every time we do it. It's not about, you can't call me a racist, I got a black kid. That's not what it's about. We're promoting interracial adoption. And that's not promoted. It's just not promoted.
That's another lie. They're saying that there's, not enough people to adopt. That's another lie.
Well, there's, most people that adopt are white, okay, and most everybody that's an adoptive parent is white, and most people want to adopt white babies. And if you only want to adopt white babies because more people want to adopt white babies, then you might have to wait a little bit. But if you're open to interracial adoption, it's quick. Yeah.
Your heart is there. It didn't matter, and we should stop pointing out all those differences to make people.
Oh, it's so easy. Like I'll tell you, when Steve, I used the same adoption attorney that Steve used. Charlotte Dansu was her name. She's an attorney here in Boca. And when we adopted my daughter, we got a call like a week later. They had another child that was available. And she wanted to, do you want to adopt another child? And we couldn't. And I remember Steve has two sons that are black that are adopted. But they're not birth brother, and they were born like the same week or something. He'll tell us when he joins. I'll ask him. But they were from different families, and they adopted them at the same time. So if people are open to adoption, in particular interracial adoption, it would stop a lot of these abortions, and pro-life Christians would be much more successful in ending abortions if they did that, as opposed to being, and I'm not attacking you or giving you a hard time. Nothing you said is inaccurate.
It just, it's still on my heart.
Well, it's marketing. It's to win the argument and to save the lives of unborn children, you've got to reach out to liberals, and reaching out. And if you go in there and be a pro, and like there's a Planned Parenthood office not far from my house. And every week, they don't do the abortions there. You just go there and they refer you to somebody who does it, right? But every week, there's a group of people out there with the signs. And they're good people. The anti-abortion stuff. I mean, and some of the signs are pretty, you know the message. They're pro-life people, they're good people. But but being pro-adoption is a positive, and you reach more people that way.
Good point. All
right, but I do wish AOC would give up communism and abortion for Lent, not meat. She doesn't even like meat.
I wish she'd get acting lessons and then give up.
Oh, she'll give up her seat when she gets the next higher office. That's what she's doing. All right, thanks for the call. All right, listen, we're coming up on our top of the hour break for the 8 a.m. break. My name's Brian Craig. If you're on hold, don't go anywhere. Steve will be joining us after the top of the hour. Our phone number is 1-888-GO-CANE, 1-888-465-2631. If you're on hold, do not go anywhere. We'll go back to our phones after the break. We'll be right back.
Covered AM 1470, FM 95.3, 96.9. South Florida's FM Money Talk Radio Network. WWNN, Pompano Beach.
Steve Kane radio listeners love Champagne Automotive.
Steve Kane Show.
In Boca.
I went over to a Champagne.
Hey, hold on. Steve Kane Show.
This man is the most fair
mechanic hold on.
In my entire life. We took a car over there that was not being used yet. It belonged to my 90-year-old dad. Everybody I had taken it to before was charging an astronomical amount of money.
Hey, all right, you ready?
I took it over there. Eddie took a look at it, and I got to say that this man.
Well, if you can't connect, you got to use the phone. So. No, you got to use the phone. Have you been listening? Okay, good. All right, good. Okay, hold on.
561-245-8101. 561-245-8101.
I'm Dr. Janae.
I'm Alan Knight.
You love listening to Steve Kane and Brian Craig for your daily dose of political pandemonium. Now you need a cure for the resulting anxiety and depression. Join us for the perfect prescription to help you cope with the world.
Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday nights at 11.
If you want answers about love, anger, pain, and relationships, join us for your chance to call in and share your stories, tears, or laughs. Take the opportunity to tell me what's on your mind.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout South Florida, from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782.
You are listening to South Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. Call the show toll-free. Dial 1-888-GO-GAIN-1. That's 1-888-GO-GAIN-1.
All right, 2 minutes after 8, the third and final hour has begun, and we've got Steve Kane on the phone today because we got some upgrades are going on with the way Steve connects to the radio station. So they're not done yet, but you with us, Steve?
Yes, I am.
All right. Well, you're on the phone. You're on the phone, and I am broadcasting today in my MyPillow bathrobe. I've been wearing it all morning. I've got it on right now, and I could wear this all day. It's so soft and comfortable, Steve. This robe is awesome. This robe is awesome, and if you're on hold, we're going to go right back to the phones in just a moment, so don't go anywhere. But this robe right here is 30% off when you use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at mypillow.com. Some are more. Some it's buy one, get one free. Like if you buy the sheets, it's buy one set, get a second set free. That's 50% off. If you buy the MyPillow towels, buy one set of towels, get a second set free. That's 50% off. But the MyPillow bathrobe, it's 30% off when you use the promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E. And I've been wearing this robe now for about 3 hours here already because I was wearing it. I wore it to work today, and I guess people thought I was just in my pajamas when I was driving in this morning. They looked at me funny at Starbucks, with the robe on. But I have clothes on underneath it, people, okay? And I'm not I'm not in my underwear underneath it. But this robe, Steve, is so soft, it's so comfortable, and it's got pockets in the perfect spot you want them on a robe. They're not on the side, they're not all the way on the front. They're between the front and the side and the perfect spot. So go to mypillow.com, pick up your MyPillow bathrobe for 30% off. You can also order by phone. Call 1-800-716-4879. And I'm here to tell you this, and then we'll go to the phones. The phones are very busy today. Mike Lindell is dealing with an extreme amount of attack for his support of Donald Trump. And I don't think people realize how bad it is. So this is what I want you guys to do, okay? Go to Google, type in Mike Lindell, and do a Google News search. And you will see page after page of news stories about the people that are going after him because of his support of Trump. Pages and pages, and it's tough. And he's going up, he's got some big people going after him. So go to mypillow.com. Every special you see there you can take advantage of with the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E at checkout, including the 30% off the bathrobe.
The businesses cut Michael off in this.
Well, it's not, JCPenney, Bed Bath & Beyond, Wayfair, Kohl's, a whole bunch of others. And it's not just the boycott, Steve, by these businesses. He's being harassed by big companies that are threatening to sue him and all kinds of stuff for many things. And he's really dealing with it. So, you can help Mike Lindell by supporting him. One of our listeners messaged me yesterday, Steve. They said, I have enough pillows, but I bought some pillows just to support Mike Lindell. Yeah, so thank you for doing that, who did that. Again, use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout. All right, do you want to go to the phones, or what do you want to do, Steve?
You
were in the midst of a vaccine discussion.
Yes. Well, we'll see what the callers want to talk about, but what had happened was a little more than an hour ago, a liberal black caller called in, had a lot of grievances about a lot of things. He said, I want to talk about your black daughter, you know, and he was taking issue. And I was just explaining to the last caller, when you and I think most people, even conservatives that listen, think that when I mention I have a black daughter or you have black children, you mention it, that we're like showing off, like, oh, you can't call us racist. We can talk about what we want because we have black kids. And I was explaining that's not the. I know it sounds that way, but that's not the case. What we're doing is promoting interracial adoption, is what we're doing every time we do that, and that's the purpose of it, you know. And
From my interracial.
Yes, yeah. I mean, that's great. Well, what happened was, and this one guy, he wanted to ask me a question, and I asked him not to ask me because that could kill me and he could get charged with murder. And he says, does your black daughter say ax? Do you say that to your black? I said, well, she says ask because she was raised by articulate parents who told her how to speak. All right, let's listen. Let's go to the phones and Steve's connection. He's on the phone today, guys. He'll be back on the studio on Monday. Good morning, caller. You're on the radio. What's your name?
Hi, this is Cheryl from Michigan.
Hey, Cheryl.
Hey, Cheryl.
Hi. I just had a comment about Governor Whitmer versus Cuomo.
Oh, yes.
And I just feel that Governor Whitmer, at least with Cuomo, he stuck older people back into nursing homes. But Governor Whitmer ended up taking healthy young men and women and sticking them into the old senior citizen homes.
Well, what Cuomo did in New York, okay, is a little different. When seniors, see, when you have COVID, you can still be contagious. Some people in my family recently got COVID. They've recovered, but they were pretty damn sick. The person that gave it to them died. This is all in the last couple weeks. The person who died got it from somebody who had gotten over COVID already, but they still were carrying it and gave it to them. And what Cuomo did was this. When COVID patients were being discharged from the hospital, he was taking them by mandate directly from the hospital to the nursing homes. He also, Janice Deans talked about this. Cuomo did something that's crazy. He would not allow COVID testing to be done in these nursing homes. So they didn't know who had it and who didn't. And they were all mixing and everything else. Okay? Then, after now remember, because of Cuomo's actions, his actions resulted in the death of more New Yorkers than bin Laden killed on September 11th in New York. Okay? So there's a lot of people. Then he went on to not only lie to federal investigators, but instruct his staff to lie to the FBI investigating this. So he's committed a lot of crime. A lot of crime. Hold on, caller. Go ahead, Steve.
I was thinking about this last night. Remember, there's a subplot in here. There was a hospital ship, an Army hospital.
Yeah.
That
Trump, yeah. Mm-hmm.
To New York, because it was empty. There was how many people were in that hospital?
He didn't send anybody there. Cuomo sent no one to it.
Yeah, but I mean, they had beds for
thousands, like 5,000 people or something.
5,000. I mean, and Cuomo he could hold behind the option of putting those 5,000 people floating on the river where they wouldn't be contagious.
That's correct.
And why do you think he did? He ended up not doing it.
Oh, it's easy. That's easy because he didn't want Trump to get credit for it.
Exactly right. Stop and think about that for a minute. Nobody discusses that too much.
Yeah, so people died because of his ego.
They all point out that the beds were available to Cuomo for the people with COVID, but they never stop and take it the next step and say, well, why didn't he do that? The reason is
He didn't wait. Kevin, life is a
box of chocolates. Oh, that's Forrest Gump.
Yeah, that's Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
My mind.
Yeah, well, life is decisions, and he made a decision out of his ego because he didn't want Trump to get credit for something that resulted possibly in the death of many people.
And that, of course, the truth sounds so ugly that when it was being investigated, they couldn't tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to say, well, how was he going to explain away all these empty beds that he could have used but chose not?
And don't forget the hospital at the Javits Center that Trump built, the Army Corps of Engineers built, didn't use any of it.
That's correct.
And he's in. Yeah, go.
Absolutely. I'm just going from Michigan that I know for a fact that they could have kept a lot of them younger people in the hospital. The hospitals were not full, and I'm up around Port Huron area, and she was trying to keep her numbers, in my opinion, she was trying to keep her numbers low, just like.
Well, the problem you have in Michigan, okay, this is what you, okay, here's your problem in Michigan, okay, if there's three governors that everyone looks at all the time, right? Cuomo, Newsom, and Whitmer. All of them are insane sociopaths. You can see it in their eyes. And Governor Whitmer has done the wrong thing every step of the way. And she's very insecure about herself because I don't know if she's your first woman governor, but she thinks she's a feminist icon, and she tells herself that the only reason people oppose her is because she's a woman. That if I were a man, they would do everything I told them. Well, her own husband didn't even follow her mandates. Remember, he got caught at the boat ramp. And like Cuomo, her sociopathic ego is she can't admit she did anything wrong, so she continues to make you suffer.
This is the kicker with her. They had Trump had his I believe some FBI stop her getting attacked.
Yeah. Well, good. That's a good thing. I'm glad. We're very glad they did that. Okay. Okay. Thank you. All right. Good morning. You're on the radio, caller.
Hey, good morning.
Yes.
Bruce from Lake Worth. The reason that the problem in Texas is that 40% of their electricity comes from wind turbines. And guess what? The wind turbines froze.
Yeah, well, apparently, I got a call a couple days ago, Steve, when you weren't here, from a caller in Fort Worth, Texas, who was snowed in his house. And he said he's lived in Fort Worth for 22 years. He's never even seen a snowflake, except for some college kids, some college guys. And he's snowed in now. And they're making a big deal that in the Arctic, they have the same type of turbines and they don't freeze over because they use some type of antifreeze in them that they don't use in Texas because this is a very unusual event. It's like Florida. It doesn't snow. You know what I mean? And that's what's happened.
So what that caller said, you're not blaming the conservatives. I guess you can blame the conservatives for listening to the liberals.
Well, okay. Now this is the thing, that I don't know about Texas. Texas is a big state, and it's run by Republicans, but there's still Democrats that run areas of Texas. Like here in Florida, we're a very Republican state, but Mar-a-Lago is in the most Democrat county in Florida, and where President Trump lived. So, there were things that happen in these Democrat counties that the rest of Florida doesn't go along. So I don't know how all this green crap got built out there. I don't know, but Republicans do run the state, so they got to get them out of this, But when the reason, what happens a lot of times, the turbines are part of it. The green stuff is part of it. Right? Solar panels don't work when they've got snow on them, for example. But I was talking to this caller in the first hour who didn't really know what he was talking about. He's in Florida. When we lose power in hurricanes, it's because power lines get knocked down. And it takes a while to get them back up. And I imagine in Texas, a lot the snow has probably knocked down a lot of the power lines too. And that's a part of this is a natural event. Stephen King, the author, says, they don't, the Governor Abbott doesn't believe in climate change. That's why this happens. His belief in it didn't change anything. The weather would still be the weather.
That the caller, he sounded familiar. Was he somebody that used to call you all the time?
No, I know who you're talking. No, that was no. And maybe, do you think all black people sound alike? It sounds like you do.
No. He sounded like, and I can't remember the name of the guy that used to call you all the time. It's called Top.
You're talking about the Black Phantom, and the Black Phantom has long gone, unfortunately, to the next level of existence.
Oh, okay.
He was so nasty, I can't say heaven necessarily, because he was so nasty. You know. All right, take care. Oh, man, I miss the Black Phantom so much. He was the best caller ever. Oh, my God, people like Weezy, but he was 1,000 times better than even her. I mean, he was a great caller. The Black Phantom was the best. Let's take one more call before the break. Good morning, you're on the radio. Good morning, caller. Yes, you're on the air.
Hey, just one thought. When you guys were talking about them sending them back to the homes instead of the ship or the Javits Center, was he told by someone else to do that?
That's what he claims, but he's the governor. No, he ordered it. He claims the CDC told him. Does Governor Cuomo look like someone who just does what some bureaucrat somewhere tells him to do?
I don't know.
Give me a break.
Yeah.
But what do you think? He claims but it doesn't matter. Even if that's true, he's still a crook because he lied to the federal investigators and instructed his staff to lie. That's a crime. So you may be able to debate his decision making with the nursing homes, but it's not up for debate that he lied to federal investigators and instructed his staff to do the same. That's suborning perjury or something, isn't it? Isn't that what it's called?
That's what they're called.
Yeah. So those are crimes. There's no getting around it. If he did the right thing, why did he lie to the investigators, the feds?
Yeah. No. My point is, if he was told by higher up in the Democratic Party.
No, CDC recommendations are recommendations, not mandates, by the way. I've never heard of a CDC mandate. I've heard of CDC recommendations. And Governor Cuomo doesn't do what anyone tells him. In fact, he does the opposite. He's the boss. He knows everything. Him and Fredo.
All right, you guys have a good day.
All right, you too. Let me take one call screenless, and then we'll take a break. Good morning, you're on the radio.
Yes, I want to ask a question about DeSantis.
Please do. Go.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. Wasn't there I don't know all the details. There was a controversy with DeSantis and a lady who was working, tracking all the COVID patients. And in Florida. And it turned out that the lady seemed like she was instructed not to show the full amount. Almost a little bit like Cuomo, not exactly. And then she fired.
No, none of that's true. None of that's true. No. Well, it would sound that way to a Democrat who wants to. No. DeSantis and Cuomo. What Cuomo did was send people that were COVID contagious and put them and order them into. Excuse me. Well, maybe not everyone's as smart as you, okay, and informed. What Cuomo did was take people that were capable of spreading COVID, ordered them to be transferred to nursing homes, wouldn't let anyone leave the nursing home, and mixed negative people with people that had it, and got thousands sick, and they died. What Ron DeSantis and this girl were doing is she was accused of manipulating the data for political purposes and releasing data not through official channels.
Is it possible that you have it in reverse?
Well, tell me what people that DeSantis ordered to their deaths, like Cuomo did.
It's apples and oranges. So
it's not people are not apples and oranges. Grandma and Grandpa that were killed in New York are not apples or oranges. Well, you're doing it.
And I am not a Democrat, and I can't stand Democrats.
No. Excuse me. No. She was being accused of manipulating the numbers, not Governor DeSantis. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of Democrats that, listen, they're after DeSantis because Florida did the opposite of New York and the opposite of California, and we're doing fine. In fact, Governor DeSantis even has executive orders like the local Democrat towns and counties cannot order businesses to close. DeSantis overruled them all. So what's going on right now? The Democrats don't want to open the country up. They want to keep California and New York and the country locked down. The Super Bowl happened, right? And the national media came to Florida for the Super Bowl for a couple days before and a couple days after. They're all from New York, right? The New York media. They saw how great Florida is, and they're telling all their friends, and it was all over global television. So there's an effort to discount and go after DeSantis, where Biden's even talking about stopping domestic travel into Florida. Because Florida is an example, and Ron DeSantis is an example on how to govern during COVID that nobody else has done properly. So you're hearing a lot of things about DeSantis that are not true.
Well, that's great. That's why I called. That's to find out on your perspective, the other side of the story. I don't like to look at just one side.
Oh man, and they also know that he's a favorite to be President Trump's running mate in 2024, and that he's going to probably be our nominee in 2028. Because Trump can't run for a third term in 2028. All right, take care. Thanks for the call. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly Tire in Margate, where they have all the major brands like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beaten. Steve Kane's tires for his Toyota van at the other shops, $175 a tire. At Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. That's a $100 savings per tire. Tires for my daughter Emily's car, $135 at the shops around town. The price at Friendly Tire, only $65. That's a $70 savings per tire. These prices are out the door and on the road. Free mounting and balancing and no added charges. Friendly Tire have a great selection of good used tires too, starting at just $30 for most cars. Call my good buddy Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive and he will give you a great low price right over the phone at 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Online, friendlytire.net. Hi, Brian Craig here. We've been telling you on the Steve Kane Show, for coronavirus testing, stop by any lab test now of Coral Springs and any lab test now of Boca. One of our longtime sponsors, Dr. Mitch Matez of the Boca Raton Center for Age Management, went to any lab test now of Boca for coronavirus testing this weekend. And he called it live on the radio to share his...
Yeah, you got disconnected. Yeah, you hung up. Okay, hold on.
On Saturday to get COVID-19 tested, and it was awesome. We had a little experience where we had somebody in our close circle that tested positive after 10 days, by the way. Went and had a test. It took 10 days to get the results. We all went into a little bit of a panic, obviously. So we called up any lab test now. It was about maybe 11:30 in the morning on Saturday. They said, come on right on over. I was anonymous. I didn't announce myself. We went over there. We got there about noon. We checked in. 2 minutes later, they took us back, did our test. We sat in the waiting room for less than 15 minutes. They brought us back, gave us our results, which were negative, and we were on our way home. And a little shout out to Brittany, the nice young lady who did our test. It was completely painless. It was quick, it was simple, it was easy, and it gave you both the IgM and the IgG antibodies, which tells you if you have the infection now or if you've been exposed to it in the past.
Now, you went to any lab test now of Boca?
Boca Raton, yeah, in the Sandalfoot Plaza.
Awesome.
It was awesome. Well, it really was. It was cool. And it's easy, it's simple, and I'm telling you, that's the way to go. So forget this 10-day nonsense.
Doctor recommended. Can I say that in the commercial now? Doctor recommended. Any lab test now of Boca Raton.
There you go. Doctor recommended. Yeah, it was really kind of cool, and it was wonderful, and it was easy. And listen, to that end, go over and get tested. This is the test you want to get. It tells you point blank, did you have it, do you have it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
That's great. So Dr. Mitch Matez personally recommending any lab test now of Boca You heard Dr. Mitch Vitez. Any lab test now of Boca is doctor recommended for coronavirus testing. They're located in the Sandalfoot Plaza. That's where the Western Beef is, south of Palmetto Park Road and north of Hillsboro on the east side of 441. Give them a call, 561-237-5009. 561-237-5009. Any lab test now of Coral Springs is located on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood over by the Coral Square Mall. Their number, 954-906-5983. Any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on The Steve Kane Show.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for W.
All right, we are back. And both any lab tests now of Boca and Coral Springs, as well as Friendly Tire, are open on Saturdays. Okay, I know a lot of you guys can't make it in the Friendly Tire or any lab tests now during the week. They're both open on Saturdays. All right, so I got a message here from, I was talking earlier in the show, Steve, about Ted Cruz's decision to abandon Texas and go on vacation with the family during this, not too smart. And a lot of people are taking issue with it. I got a message from a listener on YouTube, and I got to tell you, all you keyboard cowards, you can use those fingers to dial our number and call us out on the radio. We would love to hear from you. 1-888-GO-CANE-1. I'm going to read to you what they wrote. Your morning rant makes you sound like a 3-year-old jealous over Ted Cruz. You preach to your listeners who don't agree with your view, calling remarks negative and nasty because we don't agree with you. Ted Cruz could do more on his phone, sitting on a plane, and I guess where was he going? Where did he go? Where was he going? To Mexico. Than he can as governor. To say senators don't do anything is wrong. Ted Cruz is doing his best to hold the line for Trump in America. So how's that for a nasty comment? Well, I'll tell you this. Ted Cruz, when he came back, said that his trip was ill-advised and that when he was on the plane, he was having regret and second thoughts. But he was already on the plane. No. Yeah, come on. Even he says that.
Cruz.
Yeah.
It's right that it was a mistake and he didn't think it through carefully, but that's because there is politics involved.
Yeah, optics.
Political decision here that involves appearances, and Ted Cruz, who I like very much, seems to me should have been smarter.
Yeah, and not only did he say it was ill-advised, and he had second thoughts even when he was on the plane, he came back early. As soon as he got busted. So he agrees it was listen, he didn't kill people, right? Now, he didn't drive off a bridge with his mistress and leave her to drown in the water, okay? So he didn't commit a crime, he didn't kill people, I'm not putting it up. But when you are a top Republican senator, you've got to be smarter than that because they're going to use everything they can to destroy you, okay? And blow it.
Trying to say that Ted Cruz didn't make a mistake?
Yeah, and they're not alone, Steve.
About that.
Yeah, exactly. If little Marco Rubio left Florida right after we got hit by a hurricane, we'd be pissed off at him. And this person's not alone, Steve. I've been getting a lot of negativity from people who think I'm unfairly attacking Ted Cruz, that he deserves the vacation, they're telling me.
I don't know. There's a lot of...
Cancun, by the way, is where he went.
One of the people that is high profile and successful as a Republican, and
yeah,
people are going to attack him.
Exactly. I do give him credit for flying coach, though. He didn't go on a private jet like AOC when she went to Europe, or John Kerry or Biden and all that. He went on commercial, and it looked like he was sitting in coach to me, which impresses me. So at least at least he flew as a man of the people, unlike, do you think Nancy Pelosi's ever flown coach?
I think what Cuomo did dwarfs all of that.
Well, yeah, when you've killed people, it's more severe than going to Cancun. Exactly. I'm not putting it on the same level as yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I'm not putting it up there with Chappaquiddick, with Senator Kennedy. You know, it was just what did Ted Cruz say? It was ill-advised. But he's so good, Steve. Let me play this exchange. He's so good and he's so smart. He did a little press conference yesterday, and he has this snarky reporter. And look how he ridicules her right in the beginning before he answers. He does a smirk, and then he ridicules her, and then he answers. He's so smart. Listen. Okay, you'll hear him better than her. She says, "Did you come back because you got caught?" And you hear him snicker, and then he ridicules her. Listen.
So the question from the video on the cell phone was whether the decision.
See, he says the one on the cell phone because she's not a real reporter. She's just some chick on a cell phone. And then he's so great.
So the question from the video on the cell phone was whether the decision to go was tone deaf. Look, it was obviously a mistake, and in hindsight, I wouldn't have done it. I was trying to be a dad.
Okay, so there you go. He said in hindsight he wouldn't have done it. So all you people giving me crap, he even said he shouldn't have done it. He wouldn't have done it in hindsight. So, Ted Cruz agrees with me. He shouldn't have gone to Cancun. All right, let's take some calls. Steve, you got to speak up just a little bit, though, because you're a little low on the phone. All right, good morning. You're on the air, caller.
Okay.
That's better, Steve. Caller, you're on the air. What's your name? Once. Yeah, you're on the air. Go ahead, caller. Okay, they're not there. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning. How you doing?
Okay, how are you?
Well, it's, you were talking, and one of the things that's just amazing that Trump did, right, was he made us see how slanted the media really is and how corrupt the politicians are. I think that this has been the biggest awakening in the last 4 years in my lifetime. I never realized how corrupt the media and the politicians were, and Trump pointed that out for us.
Mm-hmm.
Very true. And now, it's also interesting. There's two factors. There's the honesty thing, but if you put aside the honesty thing, the confidence issue. I mean, this guy Biden is so incompetent, and he got caught in the midst of a crisis. He has no idea what he's doing. Everything he does, is a mistake, and it's kind of a tutorial in ineptitude. That's what
you guys do. You guys are really. Trump gave you the football, and you guys are carrying it. You're doing a great job, the both of you.
Well, okay. Appreciate the call. All right, let's take another. Good morning. You're on the radio.
Hey, Brian, it's Rolanda.
Hey, Rolanda. How you doing?
All right. Am I on right now?
You are on the air. Yeah, you're on the radio.
Okay. With regards to Ted Cruz, optics are important in politics, and I'm sorry that happened.
Steve
to him.
Kane Show.
But you know what? I've been thinking, and I don't know if you guys recall an event in New York. Do you remember when Samaritan's Purse, Billy Graham's son organization, Franklin, wanted to go to New York, or did in fact go to New York, and I think Cuomo made a big deal of it. It was like he didn't even appreciate it, and I was wondering if there was probably a reason for it at that time.
Was this during COVID?
If I make no mistake, yes.
I don't remember this, but I would imagine, being from a conservative Christian group, he doesn't want anyone conservative, anyone connected to Trump getting credit for it. He wants credit for everything except the bad.
Yeah, but I always felt that he, and this is maybe it's a bad impression or whatever, but I always thought he acted like a person with something to hide. Because I'm like, if doctors and nurses, whether, they be, here, or whatever, you needed medical personnel. You needed them to fill those cases that were coming in. I mean, rapidly coming.
Listen, here's the deal with Cuomo, okay? Here's the deal with Governor Cuomo. Governor Cuomo never worked or earned anything in his life. It always handed to him because his dad did a lot of things, okay? He's like Hillary Clinton. He's never had any responsibility, and he's too stupid and arrogant to know this. You know, he's never worked for anything. Everything's been handed to him. This is the first time he's dealt with accountability in his entire life, okay? And so this is a new thing to him. But here's the thing with Cuomo. You know, he did those daily press conferences that went on for about 2 hours every morning at 11. And if the truth were to be known about what he did as governor during the COVID crisis, the first day he did a press conference, we talked about it the next day, that was his announcement that he was running for president. And what he would do every morning, his mornings, I promise you, were all dedicated to the press conference. The press conference would start at 11 for 2 hours. The press conference would be over. He'd go have lunch. And then the rest of the day would be watching TV and analyzing that day's press conference reactions and getting polls. And then at night, they would start talking about what the press conference would be. He didn't do anything about COVID. His whole life revolved around getting 2 hours of national television attention every day in the press conference. Like Hannity with his damn monologue, probably spends all day with his staff working on his stupid monologue that no one watches on his show. You know, and so he was as checked out as Biden in a way, because all he was consumed with was his press conference, prepping for it, the conference, and public reaction and media reaction all day. They didn't have a governor during the COVID crisis in New York.
That's what I figured too. And I just wanted to say something in response to your earlier caller, the one that was referring to your daughter. Everyone knows that Afro-America or Black America, with the exception of prominent Black people, like, for example, Eunice and John Johnson, who are now deceased, their daughter Linda and her brother were adopted by them. A lot of people don't know this, and he was John Johnson, the publisher. We very seldom adopt in Black America. We very seldom adopt. Not many people know that.
I'll tell you on one of my, let's see who it was. I think it was Tyler's, and Tyler's adoption, the nurses at the hospital, that he was being delivered at, was trying to talk the mother out of it right up through the end. We almost didn't get him.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, you're talking about a Black racist nurse. That happened with my wife and I. We adopted our daughter the morning after she was born. We went to the hospital to meet the birth mother, and when we got there, the nurse, who's Black, saw us, and she said, no way, ran into the room and tried to talk them out of it. And our attorney... I mean, it's just pure racism, you know. She said, no way.
Here is the perspective of the other side, though, my side. They would say that what you're doing by adopting a black child is altering their culture, or you're committing cultural genocide. Oh. I've heard that.
Yeah, well, America is a culture.
A lot of crap.
That's racism. I mean, that's what that's what the Klan say about white people, that white culture is under attack, you know, by race mixing. That's what the Klan say. I mean, you know...
that's what that gentleman, and I just hate...
let me tell you, the reason Black's adopting too much. Black men, well, first of all, you know, 80% of Black children, you know what I'm talking about, so, yeah.
A lot of them won't raise their own, and
correct.
I got people in my own family just like that. They barely raise their own.
Let me tell you something. There's a lot of debate about it. The saddest statement in the Black community is when kids say, "Where you stay at," because in my neighborhood, everybody assumes that the kids at the school live with mom and dad, but when you get into some of these other, where you stay at, you never know. Grandma, auntie, uncle, who knows? Your mom's, no one knows. That's why where you stay at, because you don't know where kids are living. That's where that comes from.
Yeah, and a lot of them do. And with all due respect, we do tend to push our own children off on grandma or granddad or whoever is available. And that,
Well, how
and
do you,
that's
but how
the
do
problem.
you justify this nurse at the maternity ward trying to break up an adoption which was set already and agreed to by all parties, and all of a sudden she decided if it's a black child going into a white family, that we can't let that happen.
She's afraid that you won't teach them about their cultural heritage.
Like saying, if, for example, you won't teach them to say ask instead of ask. That, for example.
It's not even that. They're thinking they'll never learn about Black history. They'll never learn about a lot of
part
things.
of the Black history you're talking about, what went on over the summer in
Yeah.
the Black at the time?
You know what, Steve? I have no clue. But the bottom line is, for years, no one would tell the truth about it. And just like that caller today, when I listened to him,
Well,
and
what
I'm
is
like,
the truth?
you're the main one. You know what? You bypass them and do what you know is right, and that's what you.
Well, we did.
I guess Brian have done.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing today. It's really amazing today, how things have changed. What liberal minorities have become what they think they're against. And that caller I had earlier in the show, he's against interracial families. He's against race mixing, and that's minorities are now the ones that are the racist. It's a total reverse of what things used to be. Things have traveled full circle. And they don't see it. But racists don't think that they're racist. Racists don't believe.
I understand Colin Kaepernick is starting a business that basically is somewhat racist. Some type of thing that he's starting, wherein the only personnel that's going to be allowed are people of color.
Well, I saw the other day on Google. On Google, they have a new search engine where you can search specifically for black-owned businesses. That sounds like discrimination to me, racial discrimination.
Oh, and Coca-Cola, with all due respect, from what I understand, if you're going to deal with them at all, you got to show them that you have, I guess, blacks or Hispanics or whatever on your board.
Oh my goodness.
Business with you. Yeah, Coca-Cola has gotten that reputation.
Yeah, like McDonald's made some announcement that they don't that they're going to increase the number of minorities at the executive level. Well, that's something that should be happening organically. So they're no longer, McDonald's is actually a company that's in a little bit of trouble because people aren't into the fast food as much, right? So as opposed to hiring the best people to run their company, they're just going to hire women and gays and black people and say, look, that's crazy.
Life doesn't work that way, Brian. You want to get the best people you can, people who are reliable. I'm not saying minorities aren't reliable, but you want people.
Well, what happened with that, let me tell people, Steve, that caller, what happened with that caller is he called in to call Russia racist. And I'm going to do this in a much quicker way because he's not here and the Gold Report's a couple minutes away. But he called Russia racist. I said, do you think Russia was a racist? He says, absolutely, And I said, the number one show in the history of radio, the second most prominent job in the history of radio is his executive producer, Bo Snerdley, who's African American. And he says, well, even the slave masters let the house slaves live in the big house. And I said, but they didn't pay them hundreds of thousands of dollars a year and let the,
Rush Limbaugh was not a racist. So a lot of the things that we say, a lot of things you hear from certain places, just make absolutely.
Well, this is the thing. Okay, I mean, in my family, I know this is true in Steve's family. Race is not even a thing. I mean, the only time I think or talk about it is when we're doing the show, because people bring it up and it comes up sometimes, and the left are obsessed with race and obsessed with racial division, and it's really sad because in my family, and I know in Steve's family, these are just not issues. I mean, I don't think of my daughter as black. I don't even think about it, and the only negative comments that I have ever had are from black people. I remember I'll give you an example. There was a thing with one of my daughter's friends in high school. It was a black girl. They were in a play together. And there was some casting was done, and they had a white, in the play there was a family. The parents were black, the actors, the students, and the student's son was white. And this girl was very upset at the casting. She says, it doesn't make sense. He's got black parents, he's white, it doesn't make sense. And she says, well, I'm black and both my parents are white. You know? You know?
During the Tea Party protest, I met a man who was a Caucasian man, a white man, and he said that his father, he was actually raised by two black people. So you know, it's either way, long as there's someone there for that child. As far as I can say, long as they're brought up in loving homes and homes where they are protected, then, you know, I have no qualms with it. And in all this stuff about race, we've got to get over this. We really.
I remember my daughter. I remember we used to pack lunch for my daughter, and the only racism she dealt with in high school were from black kids. And there were some. I didn't know this till after she was out of high school. She didn't tell us this when she was in school. She told us this like a few months ago, that some black girls used to make fun of her and tell her that she had white lunches. You know, because we would put, it wasn't that we would put like snacks and things in her lunch. Adopted children are typically spoiled. You know, so maybe she's a little spoiled, but you know, and they would make fun of her for out of high school for having white lunches. I mean, you know, the racism for the most part comes from the minorities these days.
The fact that you made breakfast at all is like a phenomenon now, because when they go to school, a lot of them go to school with empty bellies. They have to.
Yeah. Well, listen, Rolanda, we got to run for a break. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with the Gold Report. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian. Steve Kane, of course, here. We'll take our break and come right back with the Gold Report after this. Do not go anywhere.
I'm excited to announce that my practice has morphed into the BioStation and will be formally known as BioStation.
Hey, hold on. Steve, are you there? I was thinking I should do the report since you're on the phone. What do you think? Okay, hold on. I'll put you back on after, okay? Hold on.
In the Joseph's Market Shopping Center, directly across from the Delray Marketplace. Call me at my new office number, 561-320-8893. That's 561-320-8893.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio.
All right, we are back 48 minutes after the hour. It is time to check in with William Youngerman with the Morning Gold Report from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated in Boca. William Youngerman, good morning.
Hello.
Yeah, good morning, William Youngerman. Good morning. How are the metals looking today?
Metals looking good, Brian. They are trading at the lower end of the trading ranges, giving us still a good buying opportunity. Yesterday we saw gold after drifting a little lower, coming up to close just down 60 cents on the day at $1,775.30 the hour. Silver closed down 35 cents at $26.99, just below that $27 support level. The platinum was up $21 yesterday, closing at $12.67, while palladium was down $27 at $2,232 the ounce. Gold this morning, we got down to the strong support area of around 1760 overnight. Which is where we bounced off of a few months ago at the lows, and now we're back up this morning, just down $3.30 at $1,772. While silver got down back under $27 and then has come back to be at $27.20 the ounce right now. That's up 21 cents so far today. Platinum is up $8 at $1,275, and palladium is up $2 at $2,234. The dollar is trading again at the lower end of its trading range, showing some weakness, which is going to give some support to gold, but still in a narrow trading range. The U.S. dollar index trading between 90 and 91. To break through that 90 is going to give us some good push for gold if and when we do that soon.
Yeah. And, you know, William Youngerman doesn't just sell the metals, they also purchase them. So if you have anything made of the metals, it could be jewelry, coins, I don't know. Once I was over there and someone had looked like Liberace's candelabras that you were appraising, William Youngerman. I've never seen candelabras in person before. Take it over to William Youngerman. Get an appraisal. And, William Youngerman's been in business for over 50 years. So, you're in business and that kind of business because people trust you. And when you get an appraisal, it is an appraisal that is accurate. You'll get what it is valued at. William Youngerman is open weekdays from 10 a.m. till 5, located at 150 East Palmetto Park Road on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. The website, williamyoungerman.com. And the number, if you want to give them a call, 1-800-327-5010. 1-800-327-5010. They also have a foreign cash exchange. If you have some foreign currency laying around, you want to turn back into dollars, take it over there, or vice versa. All right, William Youngerman, we will talk next week.
Have a great week.
You too. Take care, William Youngerman. All right, and Steve, you back with us?
Okay. It's funny, I was trying to think of a word I got it. Yesterday, I couldn't believe it. I was watching television last night. There was a segment they were doing on one of the talk stations about reparations.
Wow.
Still carrying that load around?
Wow.
Heritage that they're talking about, you think?
That must have been, what is it, 98? I haven't heard that in a while.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. It was last night.
Though, I remember, this was years ago, but remember that you and I used to guest on that black radio station? With John Javlin and Miss Ivy? Oh man, those were the days. And their whole show involved a discussion of reparations, and it was a black liberal show that was on another radio station here in town. And I remember we were over there one day, and you said to them, "You spend every day talking about reparations. It's never going to happen. Why do you talk about it every day?" They were shocked and stunned because they thought that it was coming. They thought it was, and they were both from the Caribbean. I don't know, with accents. I don't know why they'd be getting reparations from us.
Great, come and get it day.
I know. I remember they were immigrants from the Caribbean, so they came from countries that were run by blacks. About 98% black population to come to racist America. It makes no sense at all. Go back to the phones. Good morning. You're on the radio.
Hey, how you doing, guys? How you guys? Al from South Florida.
Hey, Al.
Yeah, I didn't get to hear that thing with the guy was talking about. You're saying about the race stuff or about.
Yeah, it was a great call today. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't hear that. I have a cousin actually. I don't really. It has nothing to do with the race or anything. It's, you have family you don't bother with because there's certain things. But they adopted a kid that's like mixed, and I think the mother, like ones that make money off adopting kids. I mean, where they give birth and they make money off of that. But
sorry.
I think and I think actually the one that they adopt the kid, the father I think died from from something, drugs or AIDS or something from what I heard. But I mean they have a kid that's healthy and stuff. That's the main thing. And then they couldn't have a kid, and then like several years later they were able to have a kid. So this.
So what did they want to return the one they adopted or something?
No.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, but yeah, but it was like my mom even said, like, because it was like, when you have family feuds and stuff like that. It was my mom's sister's. When she died, she said maybe she gave them luck because when they couldn't have kids, a kid before, now all of a sudden they could have a kid. But the main thing is when you adopt the kid if it's healthy and stuff like that. I don't know why people make a big deal out of the race or different things.
Because that's what liberals do. Hey, listen, thanks for the call. There was, one of the Avengers movies, the first Avengers movie, Thor's in it, and the villain is his brother Loki. And I went and saw this movie with my daughter. She was like 11, and I was just talking to her about this the other day, Steve, and I got pissed off at the Avengers, and I didn't watch the Marvel movies after that for years, because there's this scene, Loki's killing all these people, and Iron Man and Captain America, they're talking to Thor, and it's like, this guy's your brother, what's he doing? And he said he's adopted. And then the whole theater burst out laughing. And it pissed me off, and it made me really upset, that my daughter was sitting there hearing that. And that was like 10 years ago. And I was talking to her about it the other day because the movie was on. And she said it didn't bother her at all. She says, "You sound like a snowflake being offended for other people." She said, "Dad, I wasn't offended." But there's so, like this last call, there's so much negative stigma on adoption. you know, and it really shouldn't be. I mean, this guy here wasn't a big fan of adoption. All right, anyway, good morning. You're on the radio, caller. Go ahead.
Oh.
Yes, you're on the air.
I'm calling from Texas. I just had another rolling power outage there. Had to turn my heater back on. We're still having those power outages down here. I live right on the border down here between Del Rio and Eagle Pass. Are you familiar with that area?
No. But we're running short on time, so you got to get to the point because the show's almost over. I'm not trying to cut you off, but we got seconds.
Hey, I just want to say about Ted Cruz. I thought he'd done the right thing and came back real quick. He's always a good man. He's done a hell of a job for Mr. Trump.
Yeah, he has, and when you're in Ted Cruz's position, you know what the media is going to do with that, right? You know what they're going to do. It was, he could have put his family on the plane and got them out, but he should have stayed. You got to. It's like being the captain of a ship. You got to suffer with your people. All right, Take care. And look, Steve, it's time to check in with Richard Pearl, whose show follows the Steve Kane Show weekdays at 9 on this radio station. Richard Pearl, good morning.
Good morning. So I thought very briefly I would talk about something that's very inexpensive that's useful in fighting our viruses. Something nothing, and it could be very helpful against the coronavirus, and that is Weezy. People use it for a lot of different things. They use it for shingles, they use it for cold sores. But Weezy helps interrupt the replication of viruses, including the coronavirus, because it counters arginine, which is that's a amino acid also that causes an eruption basically of dormant viruses. So, like for instance, I always tell people if they have any kind of herpes virus, don't eat peanuts because they're high in arginine. Arginine can aggravate or can take these dormant viruses and have them come out and explode and cause problems. So this is something I've said for years and years and years, and one of the ways to combat arginine is through lysine. And so people get a lot of arginine in their diet just by simply taking lysine. They keep these viruses dormant. So with all the stuff that's going on in people's bodies, all the different viruses they may be facing, just taking arginine lysine could be helpful, particularly against the coronavirus. And when you look at that and you look at zinc and selenium and quercetin, this makes a nice bag of support. I have a product called Viral Bag that has everything in it other than the zinc and the quercetin, but it has some things in there that are just insane, not just the lysine, but other ingredients like self-heal that are also great.
Is that, Richard, is that something you take when you're sick, or is it something you take regularly to avoid getting sick?
I would take it regularly.
Yeah.
By viruses, especially as we get older, and our cell structures and membranes are being constantly attacked, and our glutathione levels are lower as we get older. We take something to prevent it. Simple. It costs almost nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it would solve a lot of the problems.
Well, listen, time is short, and your show's coming up in just a few minutes. Now, Richard Pearl's store, Simply Natural, where he has all these great nutraceuticals you're hearing him talk about with us that Steve and I use as well, is located in the city of Sunrise, just north of Sunset Strip on the east side of University. They're open 7 days a week, 11 a.m. till 9 p.m. And the number over there is 954-741-4045, 954-741-4045. His radio show, Richard Pearl on Politics, comes up immediately following the Steve Kane Show on this radio station, so don't touch that dial. Have a great show, Richard Pearl. We'll be listening, and we'll talk on Monday. All right, take care. Take care, Steve. You got just enough time to sign us off.
Friends, another great week in the can, and we will be back to do it again next week starting Monday, 6 a.m. On behalf of my son, Tyler, who is also my producer, Brian Craig on, you of course know Steve Kane. We'll see you Monday. God bless America.
We've got you covered. AM 14, FM 95.3, 96.9. South Florida's FM Money Talk Radio Network. WWNN, Pompano Beach.
All right, and that's it. Show's over. Now, Now listen, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe, click that notification bell. I uploaded a new podcast last night. You want to check that out? Oh boy, busy day ahead of me, busy weekend. All right. So this is my own mic I use, so I put it away every night. I'll show you guys. This is my headset mic that I use. This is a nice mic. You see this a lot of times. They use these on ESPN a lot. It's really nice. I just started. Steve's been telling me for years to use a headset mic, and I've never really wanted to. But it works out much better. All right, guys. So again, 30% off. Promo code Kane at mypillow.com. The MyPillow bathrobe. Make sure you order yours. And thanks for watching. I'll see you later, guys. Take care.